Okay. Let's try this. If if you are unfortunately if you are unfortunately a parent who's had to experience your child learning about vor and
Before they know about what sex is.
I'm really sorry to hear that. That's
I
very
I
unfortunate.
that that
If
is
you're starting at -12 on that conversation, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. So apparently
I
there are parents going through some struggles, and if your 5-year-old had to learn about vor and inflation type things before even knowing what anything is, I don't envy you or that conversation, and I'm sorry.
I so we're doing the part where we sync the audio, right? And we're getting the Audacity stuff ready. And I look over to look at Will. I say, "Are you looking at the chat?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's there. Why?" And I'm like, "I think I think I may have just read the worst story I've ever heard in my entire life." And sure enough, a few seconds later, Wooly responds with the deepest, most depressed, "Oh God," I've ever heard him say in the entire time I've ever known him.
Hmm.
As somebody in our chat describes how one of their kids got super into vor videos when they were little and how they couldn't explain to them why they were bad, and the kid talks back and goes, "What? They're just fat. I don't get the big deal." Which leads to the impetus of the sex talk as
You
a result of vor.
you can't bring shame into the equation at any point. You can't do any damage. These are fiberglass eggshells you're handling. So you have to approach the topic with so much delicacy and no
Oh
shame.
no. Oh
Oh,
no.
the
This is
internet
this is a
was
this is a
not
bad time to
the
raise
the
children.
the internet wasn't not a mistake. Let's start there. Um anyways,
This
yeah. No, as they say, emotional damage, right? That's you got to be careful.
Yeah, but it's all parent centered cuz kids don't know shame until they're taught shame.
Yeah.
And then how are you supposed what are you going to do? Make a 10-year-old feel all fucked up cuz their funny videos were actually like creepy sex freak shit?
Oh, Elsa Gate was the worst, man. What a
Why is
horrible
Spider-Man
thing.
always pregnant in those?
Well, because it has to be whatever they like looking at, and the bright colors of Spider-Man and Elsa, but also like just like gorillas of various primary colors. Like it doesn't matter. It just has to be a colorful figure, you know. And of course,
I see
Joker.
people in our chat right now saying, "Where's the story?" Fucking scroll up.
Listen,
It's next to you.
no,
It's
don't
in
even
there
no.
with you.
Stop it, stop it. Listen, hi, MP3 friends. Don't worry about it. You heard the whole story. We just told it to you. It's exactly that. That's all you need to know.
Oh,
It's a
hopefully you're not the story.
yeah. That's it. Um. Anyways, how's everybody doing? How we doing? We're
I
okay.
how we're all good. I'm
Okay.
out here. It's beautiful outside. I took the dog for a walk. He's taking a nap right behind me right now. As you can see, it if you can't see, he's fat. It's a fat brown dog being
Okay.
fat on a
All right.
chair.
Morbius wellness check-in. Have you seen Morbius?
I have not seen Morbius.
I too have not seen Morbius. Good. All right.
What I
Moving
have
on.
what I have seen is the Doctor Who man who is in the Morbius does a weird sexy dance and then does a random vampire face in the Morbius.
Oh. Okay.
and that's all. That's all I got.
Okay.
Uh, Paige was desperate last night to somehow acquire and watch Morbius. She like whatever it is about that movie just like hit the need to see the garbage switch in her mind, and like she's like scrolling through every streaming thing and eventually finds an article that's like Morbius will be on Netflix, and she's like, yeah, 18 months after theatrical release, and I'm like, oh, I'm safe.
Well, here's the question. I mean, do you deserve to see it in a form that isn't cam ripped with someone coughing and farting and walking past it?
That's the only version I could have found, theoretically, and I was not going to watch some dude's cell phone rip of Morbius.
I feel like that's what is deserved, you know? Yeah, but no, that desire is the inverse tomato meter. As the tomato meter goes down, the desire to understand and to consume the cringe goes up. So
what? So was it the moment that Jared Leto decided to start a cult and become a pseudo Jesus? Was that the moment that he just became the actor that you could see the name on and be like, oh, this movie's going to be a piece of fucking goddamn shit?
I don't think that was the moment, but that certainly was the jumping of the shark. Was the not a cult, you know? If anything.
And that's like, and I think I remember. We had like these awesome moments with Mads Mikkelsen making a statement about Morbius, but not really Morbius, where he's like, character acting is such stupid bullshit.
Method acting.
What if you're in a method acting, my mistake. Method acting is so stupid. What if you're in a bad movie? Am I supposed to be impressed that you didn't drop the role? You should have dropped it right away. And it reminds me of a quote by Sir Alec Guinness a million years ago. I think it was on Lords of on what was it called? It was on like Lords of Arabia or something, in response to a method actor, and he's like, "Have you just tried acting?"
Yeah, Mads is a god. Yeah, and I mean,
why don't you just try acting when the director says action?
Because like people like Denzel come along and it's like, oh shit, you know, like the man himself has made it so that this is the way, and like, you know, you will hear all the stories about just like everyone around the method actor that has to put up with it, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, after you.
Well, just know if they win an Academy Award at the end of it, then it can retroactively justify
totally
all the shit. Yeah. So.
People are pointing out that there's also a Robert Pattinson quote that seems to be extremely well timed, which is, nobody ever talks about method acting when they're method acting a nice person. They're always method acting complete assholes that everyone has to put up with.
Yeah,
no one's method acting the kindest, nicest person in the world.
Anyway, to answer your question though, I mean, I would say that it was pretty much preordained, but prior to the cult, the start of anything would have been being the 30 Seconds to Mars guy, right? Like,
oh, is that where he's from?
Yeah. That's what's up. Still, I mean, at his best, he is like the worst part of an amazing movie like Blade Runner 2049, you know?
Right.
So, anyway, okay. Well, we've done the Morbius check-in.
So yeah, I'm doing great. My Morbius check-in is negative. How about you, man? How you doing? You're also negative on the Morbius. So that's
negative on that. So here's a question: what the fuck do you know about Action Park?
Zero.
Okay, so
I'm about to attempt to rectify that very quickly.
I want you to picture in your head the kid from The Simpsons that works at every burger joint, right? The crackly voiced teenager.
Oh, Mr. Papadopoulos is gonna kill me.
Now picture like 1,000 of them, and
Oh,
picture
okay.
that they run an amusement park, and there's no such thing as rules or safety or anything, and this is now put them in their own amusement park in New Jersey in the 80s.
Okay, hold on a second. Action Park's popularity went hand in hand with a reputation for poorly designed rides,
I'm not
undertrained.
now hold on. Now hold on. Now take those pimply faced teenage kids from that the kid like take them. They're running these parks, okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
now feed them beer.
Yeah, they're drunk.
Okay, now you feeding them beer? Okay. Now
Uh-huh.
families and people and kids are all going up there, New Jersey in the 80s, going on rides, okay? Now right across from the water park is a go-kart park where you can speed
Right.
through in go-karts.
Excellent.
And now divide this entire facility by a real live highway
Okay.
right down the
Good.
middle.
Oh.
Action park, baby.
Okay.
So
Okay. Right.
so I watched a film, a documentary called Class Action Park yesterday. Because one of the nicknames for Action Park was Class Action Park. There was go ahead.
Like even the tiniest browse on this wiki article, I'm seeing just all sorts of shit that I shouldn't be seeing on a fucking
It
theme park
is
page.
okay. Now take another Simpsons character, your monorail man, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
Now fuse him via fusion dance with Tony Soprano,
Got it.
and you get
Fat Tony in this
Yeah.
analogy.
Sure, Fat Tony, that'll work. Yeah, Fat Tony. And now you get Uncle Gene, who's
Okay.
basically a character who him and his partner got kicked off of Wall Street for fraud and all kinds of cash crimes in the 80s.
You got the fucking slimiest motherfucker in the world to get kicked out of Wall Street in the 1980s for fraud.
In the 80s, he got kicked out. Okay, so then what does he do? He goes up to Jersey. He finds a nice ski resort, and the ski resort is going to make him money. And so, like, it's doing it, but the problem is that Jersey winters are too short. So, so then they start doing things like artificial snow and whatever, but that's not good enough.
Yeah.
So the summertime months are a waste of money. What am I buying here? Why did I waste my money on this land? So it's time to create our own amusement park. It's time to create Action Park, right? But what the fuck is an engineer? What the fuck is any sort of safety regulation? What is that? Who cares? I don't care. Make whatever's fun. And like he draws on a napkin a Sonic the Hedgehog loop-de-loop, a diagonal line, and then a circle, and then another spout, and then he says, "Make this," and then they make that as a water slide, and this becomes the introduction of what is going to be a real place where they act, and he has the money to build it, and they're like, okay, what about insurance? What are we gonna do about?
What about insurance?
What about it? We are insured. Look at this insurance company that is insuring everything we do. That is totally not my own fake company located in the Cayman Islands. Look, we are insured.
It's mine. Yeah.
So this fucking movie, dude, it's so Johnny Knoxville did, I want to say, an actual film about something called Action Point, which was like a narrative version of like what this whole thing was, but literally just insane drunk teenagers running a fucking the most dangerous and deadly theme park of all time.
I have to say, it's a good. This you said it was Class Action Park is the name of the documentary?
The name of the documentary, yeah.
because like I really got to read this wiki article because we're talking 2 paragraphs and it reads like a back of box quote for a fascinating film.
I'm
Its popularity went hand in hand with a reputation for poorly designed rides, undertrained, underage staff, drunk guests and staff, and a consequently poor safety record. At least 6 people are known to have died as a result of mishaps and was given such nicknames as Traction Park, Accident Park, Class Action Park, and Friction Park. Little effort was made by regulators to address those issues, despite the park's history of repeat violations. The
like,
management resorted to illegal financial schemes to keep itself solvent, which led to indictments, some of whom, like founder Gene, pled guilty.
yeah, no, you have to understand. This is an incredible story. It is like the most American story. It is the tale of Gene, Uncle Gene, who believed in his own park, and like, so the way that they describe it is like Walt Disney, amusement, the person who designs an amusement park, it like you can see their personality in the park, and Walt Disney is the kind of guy who wanted to in particular, he wanted to relive and re-experience the frontier, a little bit of the Wild West, and a little bit of that futurism from the turn of the century about what the future of America could become, and that kind of determines what Disney is, right? Or the early parks. This is a guy, Uncle Gene is a guy who says, fuck the rules. I hate rules. I hate rules so much. I fucking hate them. God, fuck you, fuck everything. And I'm going to do my own park with blackjack and hookers. And nobody's going to tell me what to do. No one's going to tell you what to do. If you come to Action Park, you control the action. Right? That's the big thing.
This reminds me of, there's a guy who I follow on TikTok who used to be a big shot lawyer at a massive firm. And he describes that like every single year, the same thing happens. Some guy comes in and starts going, guys, there's this crazy hustle. And for some reason, nobody's doing it, as all the lawyers in the room start putting their faces in their hands.
So
it's like, I don't know why nobody's doing it, but we could make tons of money like right now.
So Class Action Park is particularly great because it walks you through like the escalating narrative of just your full-on like Lord of the Flies style situation here, and it can't be understated how important it is that there's infinite footage of people getting hurt and fucked up, and it's part of the promotional material practically, like how there's no one whistling to guide anyone anywhere, there's no crowd control, it's just fucking go go go. And like it starts with like the idea of this loop-de-loop on the napkin, right? Which it was designed by these coked up designers that are pretty much rejected from other amusement parks that Uncle Gene got to make his brides. And they're like, okay, we've made the loop-de-loop. Now how are we going to test it? Let's put some crash test dummies through it. Okay, they go through the loop-de-loop and they came out and they were just pieces and parts, right? Okay, now what do we do? Okay, let's redesign it until they come through without being broken into pieces and parts. Okay, now that they've come through intact, how do we get someone to go through this? All right, Uncle Gene stands at the end with $100 in his pocket and goes to his employees, who are 16-year-olds, who wants $100? Go through the loop-de-loop, get $100. Bunch of kids line up, go through the thing, and get fucking concussed on the round, right? And then they realize that, like, sometimes the traction of the full loop-de-loop, even if you wet them all the way up and it's a water slide, is not enough to clear the full thing. So they have to create a trap door at the top after kids come out all fucking discombobulated and busted up, bleeding, dislocated shoulders, all kinds of shit. They open up the trap door at the top to get the stuck people out that they finally, after doing the human tests, and they find teeth lodged into the top of the fucking loop-de-loop. Because people were going around, and as they were clearing, like, as they were clearing the full 360, if you don't have enough speed, you're going to drop down before you actually hit the back wall, and your teeth will knock against the fucking tubing and embed in the plastic, and then you come bleeding out the other side. And this is the introduction to what's going to be happening at this park.
Wooly, this is fun because I was just reading about engineering shenanigans just the other day and about the responsibility of an engineer and how seriously that responsibility is taken. Have you ever heard of something called the ritual of the engineer?
No, but I have heard of OSHA.
So the ritual of the engineer is the Hippocratic oath of the engineering world, and it was invented by Rudyard Kipling. And the idea is that you clear your programs and you've graduated and you're going to become an engineer, and you go to a gigantic pile of nondescript iron rings, and you are to take one of these iron rings and place it on your right hand pinky finger. If you're left-handed, it goes on your left hand pinky finger. And then you swear an oath to seriously take into consideration your responsibilities, because they may be, if you screw something up or cut corners, you could kill somebody by not doing your due diligence. And the reason why that iron ring sits on your dominant hand is so that every time you work on something, it bangs into that to remind you of your vow to do your job correctly so that you don't kill people.
Yeah. Well, fuck off with that. Uncle Gene has got a park to build, okay? And Uncle Gene operates differently. Here's how Uncle Gene operates, okay? People were cutting in line and people were cutting up into line without tickets, getting on rides. And Uncle Gene was like, how do we stop these shit kids from coming up and sneaking rides in without a ticket? We got to scare them somehow. So then one of the employees walks into the office one day and sees Uncle Gene holding a cattle prod. And the kid goes, what the fuck's going on? And Uncle Gene turns it on and zaps himself in the chest and falls over. And the kid goes, oh my God, what is happening? And then Uncle Gene gets up and goes, no, it's okay. It's fake. But here's what we're going to do. We got to get someone to come up and try to pretend to steal a ride without a ticket. And you're going to take this cattle prod and you're going to zap him. And then everyone's going to see that kid fall over, and then they're going to tell the stories of how someone got killed for trying to steal a ride at Action Park, and then no one's going to do it anymore. Hard cut to the front office where they're getting calls from hundreds of parents who are complaining that their children saw a park employee murder someone live at Action Park.
Of course.
With a cattle prod, because they went down and never got up and were carried away on a stretcher. That's the oath that Gene takes. You have to understand. Different energy. Fuck your ring. Okay?
Plan do a fucking episode on this, because they do a fucking episode on goddamn everything.
Who?
I bet you if I type in Defunct Land. Oh, you're not familiar?
Yeah. No, it just, the sound cut out. Yeah.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah, Defunct Land. History of Action Park.
Honestly, like, I'm gonna tell you right now, Class Action Park, like, it's everything you need to know. Fucking amazing.
You can watch both, because you get more injury footage, I bet.
And they're promoting it, you know? So, I mean, we're talking everything from like Tarzan swings and cliff dives, right? Where you're swinging and then you do a clear and then you drop. But you're Tarzan swinging into insanely cold, fresh river water with salmon in it, where people are...
What?
Because
Why are the fish still in it?
because it's a uncleared live body of water. And you're dropping in, and then your body is going into shock because of all the water, and people who can't swim are freezing up and practically almost drowning. And because like lifeguards are not a fucking thing, like there but they don't give a shit, you have people that will go underneath, and then no one clears when someone has dropped, so other people just drop on top of them, so in some cases. And people are basically just like all yelling and chanting at you, like, if you can't fucking swim, they just go, swim, pussy, do it, you fucking loser, as they all get drunk and watch. And people who basically get dragged out of the river, all the lifeguard does is drag them out. And these are, again, teenagers, people 6 to fucking 18-year-olds. You get dragged out, and they write CFS on your bracelet. And it just means can't fucking swim. And then they send you on your way so that anyone else can see you're just you go up to the next ride, and okay, you can do it, but everyone knows you can't fucking swim. Ha ha. And that's it. I mean,
man, I want to go to Action Park, man.
Legendary. Okay. So the other, and then not to mention the other drop that they had was that, like, again, like cliffside, no checking who's beneath you. You see footage of like 20 people all lined up partying on a cliff, and just every couple seconds someone just does a flip off of it, and then people at the bottom are just bodies just raining on whoever's below, and it's like, yeah, whatever, we're doing our shit, who cares? And of course, because again, live body of water, there are large black snakes in the water, because, why would we clear that out? You control the action at Action Park. Okay.
All right, I don't want to go to Action Park anymore.
Okay.
That's the line for me.
You've got Uncle Gene, who's like, you know what's fucking fun? Like White River rafting. So why don't we recreate that on our own thing with a tube that you sit in, and then you tube down this insanely, and basically whatever the rides were designed to be, Gene would come in and add his own little twists at the last second to make it more actiony. And some of them included, like, I want to say, like, literally just like Sonic bonus level style, like sideways walls where you go up with the tube, and a death drop on the other side, and people watching to see who's going to go over. And as you get close to that death drop, people are like, oh, and then as you survive, they go, oh. Now, you probably go flying off of one of the tubes at some point, because they also have, again, reminder, no lifeguard really caring about what's going on, and no concept of wait, stop, go, wait, stop, just go, go, go. So you fall off your tube, you're now standing in the water, you're trying to get back on your tube, and right behind you comes the next group on their own tube, so you're just getting clipped off. A traffic jam piles up. People, of course, are, again, drunk, getting up, starting fist fights in the water, angry teenagers, and as the fist fight causes a bigger traffic jam, more people behind them are coming with the tubes from the top.
I like this. I like this a lot.
It's choice. It's fucking choice.
This is the fucking, like, this is the unregulated fucking Jersey wet dream of a theme park.
And like, it's a very the footage is it's quite incredible, because being 80s Jersey as you do, I mean, bored white kids is all I can say. Just
bored white kids in the 80s.
As far as the eye can see. I mean, at one point, like, a young Lane Staley is literally being interviewed, like, yeah, man, Action Park is great. Fucking, like, go ahead.
The 80s, like, there's a certain, because there's people we're talking to right now that don't remember the 80s because they weren't there. And I mean, I barely remember them, right? But I existed in them for a small period. And the 80s was like a different time in ways that is difficult to appreciate. But the easiest way to understand how the 80s were different is to go watch Back to the Future. Because when you watch Back to the Future, Biff isn't going to ruin your car, and he's not going to like fuck up your essay or cost you the good summer job. He's like, I'm going to kill you and rape your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
like a PG movie villain.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And like, so now you have a place where kids are going, coming up from New York or wherever nearby, because it's literally like inventing the concept of a water park practically, and they're making the rules. So anyone who wants to do insane dares, anyone that wants to just like all the bored shit that kids would do, like sneaking into abandoned places, climbing dangerous things, it's like, no, we've given you the place to do that, you know?
And it's supervised in big air quotes.
They have they have like a wave pool where it's like it's this slow, it's enclosed place where people are shoulder to shoulder getting fucking launched into the air and then under the water, and there are so many injuries just at that pool alone that like anyone who is a new lifeguard for the day is brought in to like what they call the death zone, which comes after the grave zone. And you sit and you watch over the death zone, and basically within the first 5 minutes of opening, or within the first 20 minutes of opening, you will have to rescue no fewer than 3 people from drowning instantly. And that if you can do that as your first day as lifeguard, then okay, you can probably handle this gig.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, that's excellent.
I mean, like, it just goes on, and like, every step of the way, it's like, yeah, so meanwhile, across the street at the go-kart place, which also, the adults came for the go-karts as well, because go-karting is fun. Keep in mind that the go-karts are, right next to an active highway.
Yeah.
B, the go-karts can go 50 to 60 miles per hour once you like tweak some shit on them. And C, they're 20 feet away from the beer tent. And D,
did you actually mean to say 50-60 mph?
I said mph, not kilometers. American.
That's like 75 to 100 kph.
And some of the people,
that's highway speed.
And some of the employees are like, yeah, so we took them on the highway sometimes, and there's footage of them on the highway going, woo! So now they're 20 feet from the beer tent, okay? So people would, of course, have a good time and then go and continue to have that good time.
Oh, it's a great time out here.
Uncle Gene says, you know what would be awesome? If we set a prize for anyone who can make it around the track in under 55 seconds, you will be greeted by a bunch of bikini babes, and they'll give you like a bottle of champagne. They'll spray you down with a bottle or whatever.
It'll be like, you won
a big old celebration.
Like that.
Let's encourage the drunken go-karters next to the highway to go even faster. Dude, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, you know? Yeah.
This sounds like an amusement park built by and for that suspicious generation that just happened to have its risk inhibitions fucked up due to decades of lead poisoning.
I mean, there's a lot going on, but the perfect combination of like that, right? Disaffected youth, boredom, Jersey, the 80s, and a character like Uncle Gene with infinite bankroll, because of course he was mafia affiliated, and of course he had all the local politicians on his payroll, so that he never had to deal with any lawsuits. I know.
I don't know, man. The implication that you're making that 1985 New Jersey might have had a few corrupt politicians is outlandish to me.
And so you just put that all together into the perfect storm, and the employees again are the same age as the attendees, and it's just like bored, high, drunk kids trying to fucking pass the day up. A ton of which are not even really like there's security supervising posts, but really the kids are just going up to the bank shack because there's a bank shack up the hill. Yeah, like it really is just, it's a perfect storm. It is a absolutely complete picture of that era. And you're watching it, and I remember I heard about Action Park, and I heard about it as like that legendary place that was so insane they shut down because kids died on the fucking rides. And it's like, and then you're watching the full story of it, and it's like, okay, this is escalating. Like, there's only so many teeth and fractures and bones broken and people being carried out on stretchers. Oh, by the way, to which they have their accident procedure was pretty much like, okay, if you're skidded, if you have like, let's say you're going downhill on the Alpine slide, which is, by the way, it's a bobsled track. It's just a bobsled track, where you're sitting on a fucking, you're sitting on nothing and you're flying down a bobsled track. You go flying off of it, which many people tell the stories of how they do, and then they get massive burns and broken everythings, and they bring you up to the repair cabin, basically to the medic cabin. They spray you down with alcohol and iodine, and just like you burn on the spot. And like there's a circle, and it's like, and if you can stay in the circle, then you'll get like a prize or whatever, as they spray you down with the fucking the weird orange solution,
I love it.
and then send you on your way. All of this can only go so far before you're like, okay, but when, like, there's bodies, right? And it's like, oh, there's absolutely bodies. And they get to them, and it's fucked. It's insanely fucked. And it's just one of those things where you're like, what do you think someone who starts this kind of journey does when confronted with the ultimate, like, uh-oh, shit just got real? And the only answer is your Uncle Gene. You triple down.
Cover it up.
You quadruple down.
You gotta cover it up. You make it go away.
Everything you can do. You know? Yeah. So you have people doing their rafting, and to keep the water nice and turbulent, you put fans under the water. Of course, these are ungrounded fans because you just literally just put fans in the water. And one of them breaks, and then someone falls out of their raft and touches the open fucking electric broken fan circuit and just gets fucking fried. And it's like, yeah, cool. This is what we do, you know. And they just and like, what do you shut the ride down? No, not really. You just kind of keep it going, you know. I mean, absolute madness. You know, and further examples, like it goes and it fucking goes, and you're kind of like, okay, so, at some point does anyone step in? And it's like, yeah, it went until the mid 90s, and then it shut down essentially, you know, but like it is a fucking ride, man, like. You know, a pun unintended, going through every single aspect of this park, and you're like, literally nothing. There's not a single thing in this park that was safe. It like the food that you bought and ate was expired. You know, like
of course it was. Of course it was.
You know, like, and here's all the tricks to keep it tasting fresh. Like literally everything. You know.
There's a minor detail that somebody in the live chat mentioned that puts a slightly more context, which apparently in the early 80s, the legal drinking age in New Jersey was lower than that of much of the country. It was like 18 or 19.
Dude, there is
footage. Definitely adds to the problem.
There is footage of the legendary staff parties that would happen, like after hours, of just... Like, there is what looks to be a 12-year-old shotgunning a beer. Like, the can is he's holding the can with two hands, shotgunning a beer, and you're just like, what? what? Why are you filming? And it's like, no, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. Yeah. I mean, like there's it's so chock full of just madness. Like every aspect of it, everything I just described, it doesn't matter. Go fucking see it for yourself. You know, um, I like, yeah. I just there's so I'm trying to like. There is a uh 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 not the what was the other ride? Anyway, whatever. Go fucking watch Class Action
The
Park.
Child Decapitator, was that what it was called?
So no, but yes, because what it essentially was, what it was they had a it's like a water slide, and it does the 90-degree angle dip, and then it goes 45 again, and then so it's like the staircase down,
That's
and what you're
no.
supposed to do is you're supposed to get launched in the air, land, and get relaunched, and then land again, right? And so they
Right.
build all the rides with the specification of, hey, if you're the average kid that works here, you're, again, 16, 17, you're about yay high, you're about yay tall, and you weigh about this much, it'll be fine for you. And anything bigger or smaller than that, who gives a fuck? That's not my problem.
I mean,
you control the action.
You might not make it far enough. You might overshoot the fucking thing horribly.
So everyone does their thing on it, and people are getting, they're having fun, and it generally works the way it's supposed to for the most part, until one kid comes along and just somehow finds a way to run and slide in such a manner that he picks up more speed off the first bump than any other kid did. And instead of re-landing on the slide, he just launches all the way off and never retouches the slide, which is, again, like feet in the air, like stories high, and just launches all the way and just eats shit, because what's at the bottom is not a pool, it's just grass. And just eats shit on the fucking grass. And again, gets gurneyed out on a stretcher,
Well, at least it was soft, right?
Well, the kid was okay after that, but, unconscious on landing, certainly. And then they were like, okay, that was one ride, maybe we gotta dial that one back, oh god, dude, like it's so incredible to watch as like this thing comes and continues to exist and basically advertise the fact that like the way that they interview former guests, and the way that they put it is like, yeah, no, like, we tried to kill ourselves for fun. That's basically what the 80s was. It was a blur of us trying to kill ourselves for fun. And this gave us the means to do it. And,
Cool.
And yeah, and like when there's money covering up at just about every aspect of it, you can keep that shit going for a solid 15, 20 years before like you get raided and like actually like police are kicking doors down.
We were thinking about driving our cars at each other, playing a game of chicken with no seatbelts because that's for pussies. But we thought, we'd really want to kick it up a notch and go down to Action Park.
So every time one of the thousands of people that fucking busted themselves up took Uncle Gene to court, he would never settle. He would always take the lawsuit all the way. He would make it as long, as excruciating, and as painful as possible. And through a bunch of bullshit and having everyone in the pocket, they won 93% of their cases, right? But even for the few who they lost to, where they were then forced to pay out, he just wouldn't pay it. Because fuck off. What are you gonna...
Then they have to come after me again.
What are you gonna do, right?
And I could win that one.
So, and eventually, like, they're like, the first time the bailiffs just came down and the police rolled up and kicked doors down, and they rushed like the cash register and, had guns pointed and everything, and went like, yeah, we gotta go, like, you must pay now. And then, like, after that first one, it became such a common occurrence that they literally just, like, they just roll up, politely knock on the door, and just be like, "Yep, just give us what you got. Like, give us some cash."
Essentially turning the state into a protection racket.
It's like because he just refused to pay anything. Yeah, no. It is yeah, it is a fucking masterclass in no rules and self-regulation and in like what happens in a world without engineers. In a world where not a single engineer can be found.
You don't need them. You don't need that shit.
Engineers are shot on site at Action Park.
Just weld this part to it, and then that'll be stable.
Class Action Park. Go watch it. I just told you a whole bunch of it, but there's still a ton more. It's absolutely worth it. I mean, I heard the legend, but I couldn't believe it upon seeing. I couldn't believe it. What the fuck, Jersey? What the fuck, man?
Of course it's Jersey. Of course. This is a Jersey story.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of legacy.
That's great.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the fucking best. And again, like, make no mistake, it's goddamn morbid and horrifying when you get especially to like the people that died, and they're like, let's go talk to the families about what happened. Let's go see like how fucking insane this goes. Like, it's all in. It's all included. It's not just the madness. It's like, this is the consequences of it as well. People lost their fucking kids, and Uncle Gene doesn't give a shit.
Those children knew what they were signing up for when they came to Action Park.
Literally. Action Park is not responsible for our downhill dry bobsled run killing your son, because the ride was located here and your son was launched so far away that he rolled down the hill and landed on rocks that are like far enough away that it's the rocks that are responsible.
Yeah, the rocks aren't part of the theme park.
No. He got launched so far away that the rocks are responsible, not the ride. This is our legal defense. Take it or leave it. Yeah, so anyway, that's a doozy right there. Yeah, Out of Bounds. Exactly. Can't sue me for Out of the Ring, Man,
theme parks are fucked up. Like, in general.
I like a good theme park, but every time I see a video of, like, a ride rocking backwards and then, like, volunteer people have to run up and hold it down with their body weight so that it doesn't fall over and just murder a crowd, it's kind of horrifying. And as someone who has gotten pretty big, generally above the weight and size of, like, a lot of these rides on comfort levels, I'm kind of just like, yeah, I'm not going to push my luck on that zip line. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not going to push it.
I made a decision in my life that I didn't, when you make a decision but you didn't realize you had because it wasn't a conscious decision, It just turned out that you just were unwilling. And that decision was any theme park that moves, I would not put one foot on a ride.
Wow, okay.
Any theme park that goes from location to location, meaning this Ferris wheel or some shit, has to be completely disassembled and reassembled.
Okay. Moves as in like the carnival itself. Yeah.
No, I'm not. Nope, not gonna
reassembly.
Do it. No,
yeah.
because
the reassembled ride.
If I go down to La Ronde or Six Flags or something, I can at least assume that the ride as is has been functioning as is for a little while.
The monster has been there since the fucking like 80s or 70s. Yeah.
Even without human maintenance. But if I go to the traveling carnival show a Ferris wheel, the most common ride of all, I have to trust not only that it was disassembled in the last location properly, but that it was recently assembled in this location properly, which I don't, because it's being assembled by fucking carnies. No, not gonna do it.
And when their ring knocks against the bolt, they go, get this fucking thing on, and they They flip it off into the nearest water bank. They, what engineering, what testing, what weight, what calculations, what math, Yeah, no, that makes sense. I was a fan of roller coasters quite a bit growing up. I love roller coasters, and I still do. It's been forever, but yeah, absolutely. Anything traveling can go fuck itself. That's a pretty good plan.
I remember when I was in Japan and I was at Universal Studios and like the Harry Potter ride that I was on like got stuck or something, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not too worried about it. Everybody around here seems really professional and they all seem to be taking their jobs seriously. I would not have felt that way had I gotten stuck on anything at even my old local fucking place, La Ronde, where I vividly remember every time somebody running the ride looked at me, it was with disdain, annoyance that they had to manage the ride that they were in charge of.
I mean, I remember when I was younger and I learned the lesson of the nearby one that's set up inside the mall across from my place back as a kid. And I went to whatever it was. It was some crazy ride that turns you upside down. And
yeah,
of course, all my money falls out of my pocket because I don't know what the fuck.
Time.
I don't know. And I'm like, hey, my shit dropped out of my pocket. Can I? And the dude just laughs. Just like you as you're walking out, like, hey, can I get my thing that fell? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. That's our tip.
You know what happened?
That's our tip.
You know what happened the last time somebody did that? About 10 years ago, that fucking kid hopped a fence to get his hat back at the Six Flags.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody riding the ride kicked their head off. It's gone. If it fell out of your pocket or off your body, it's gone.
Yeah.
Give up. It's gone.
Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. Anyway. So that's a good one. And I guess other things of note this week. Moving on. Yeah, I played a little bit, popped in some Strive, played a little bit of Testament, got a feel for what was going on. I'll tell you one thing. They're definitely more sane. The nightmare that used to be Old Testament, to anyone who's unfamiliar, is a character who was in older Guilty Gear that was basically designed around putting invisible traps on the screen, and you had to memorize where those traps were, and then as soon as you came into contact with them, they would activate, and if you weren't blocking, then they'd hit you.
Fighting Old Testament felt like you were you were a tier 2 protagonist in a Yu-Gi-Oh battle. Because you would try and do something, and they would yell out that you had activated their fucking trap card, and your fucking whole game plan would just blow up in your fucking face.
And if you were not paying attention for 1 second where those traps were, and then you landed on one, they also had the ability to do teleports, projectiles with the bird that would track right towards you.
They had that giant dash attack.
Yeah, no. So Gravedigger would just it's like a big scythe spin that would basically, the moment you got hit by a trap, they could just spin into you and just that you're dead. Not to mention a bunch of other amazing things.
Testament was the start of what I would like to call the Arc System Works almost specific genre of fighting game character, which is, I am going to fill the screen with bullshit and you are not going to play a fighting game. The character type that led to Arakune and New and fucking Teddy.
So you could theoretically say the Orochi was like a progenitor to that idea, and Gonitz as well, but they didn't hide it in a constant. It was bullshit, and you were still playing a shmup when you fought Gonitz or when you fought the Orochi.
I
But
just saw a great term for this as the screen pollution.
yeah, that's the term. It's
Oh,
a
that's the term? Oh,
yeah,
that's a great term.
it's a
That's
screen pollution
perfect.
character. Absolutely, yeah. There's a there's a uniqueness to the way Arxis does it, especially with someone like Arakune, someone like Naoto in
Fuck,
Persona.
I hated fighting Arakune.
You know,
Fucking random projectiles coming from oblique angles. You could go to hell with that
mm-hmm,
shit.
mm-hmm. Um, it's a unique experience of like it's a game of memorization. It is not about what you can do. It's not about your combos. It's not about how fucking good your footsies are. It's about, can you memorize where I put this bullshit, and can you catch me? Because usually these characters have ways to like back themselves up into a corner with a bunch of bullshit and then like teleport out or like YOLO their way across the screen.
It's just you're chasing after somebody to give a beat down, and they just throw 100 mouse traps on the floor and then turn the lights off.
Yeah, 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 no, exactly. And like furthermore, just in the nitty gritty as well, like most characters have a forward punch button that is like made for just being like knocking characters out of the air, like an air invulnerable button. Whereas Testament, they got all of that, but it was also an instant overhead that could be comboed into whatever they wanted. So anyway, it was nightmarish. So going into the new version and trying out Testament now, yeah, completely just from the ground up rebuilt. As drastic a change as Baiken was, certainly. And they created something that I gotta say is like, it's pretty fun. I don't mind the ideas being different. I mean, everyone was terrified of what Testament would be, and like now it's back in a fairly like, it's still oppressive, and uh, uh, um it's still really like it's not your turn until I say it is style character. But that's also like, if you look at Jacko, if you look at fucking Gunman, Happy Chaos, that's a bit of the theme of this game is like there are, and like not to mention when Zato gets started, or when Ramlethal gets started, it's like you're just gonna block here for a while until you either see the opening and take it, or you don't, and then you're gonna just keep blocking. Like, it's not your turn.
I mean, you thought we were playing fighting games. Instead, what we're playing is tennis, and I'm just gonna get to serve, and you'll have to deal with it.
That's
and
it.
then once I'm done, you can serve back.
If you know when to serve, that is, right. And so the thing is,
unless I blow you out in the first volley.
And so playing a couple sessions, like a couple hours of it, and realizing like, okay, so when it is your turn, you better hope your character has something that's just like a get the fuck off me, leave me alone.
Right.
You need something like that, right? Characters like Sol and Kai can do their dragon punch, but a lot of characters don't have that.
Guilty Gear doesn't give out dragon punches for free like Street Fighter does.
They don't necessarily. Reversals are like, if it like, some characters have like super reversals, like spend your meter if you want it, but it's uncommon that people can just do what Sol and Kai can do, and so when you're dealing with that, when you have no like, leave me alone, and you don't want to use your burst or use your meter for like a YRC, which is kind of like ends up being some of your only answers in some cases. You just have to know exactly when that split second occurs, like I said. And so playing Testament and being on the receiving end of that oppression, and not having that like ability to just be like, leave me the fuck alone for a second, god damn it, was rough. And it kind of made me just think about how I'm like, if I'm gonna play a character that has like, that doesn't have a clear way around that's like, let's say a meterless version, I should say, then I want it to at least be like a Nago Ryuki, where it's like, and when I do touch you, you will explode. I need something to compensate for that, because as somebody who like, in some games, the exchanges are not that bad, where you'll be on defense for a bit and then you take your turn. But like, I feel as if like a game like Samurai Showdown, for example, is a good one, where like when you fuck up, it's usually because you made the wrong decision and someone's capitalizing on that, right?
I still remember playing Tager versus New 13 in original Blaze Blue, and the my turn was felt like one correct guess
Mm-hmm.
through their bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it would be 70 seconds of blocking the full screen mix up only to hope I get this guess right. Oh, I did. You're done.
Exactly. The anime experience. That's exactly it. The anime experience, you know? And I'm like, in a game like this, I can't play a Testament. I can't do it. I need,
Oh yeah.
you know, like they've like Testament has a big reversal DP, but when you don't have meter and you're just sitting there holding it and you're like, when the turn comes and I don't have enough meter, I have nothing, and if they bait out that DP, then I'm dead anyway. Like I'm like, yeah, I can't commit to a character like this.
Yeah, they're a snowball.
I need a leave me alone button. You know, I need to get just gah, you know, or something. So they're a lot of fun. The it feels really good when you mix up your opponent with the teleports and the curse, the stain system. All of that stuff is pretty fun. And when you want to be, it's interesting too because like, oh,
No, you keep talking. I'll keep
okay.
it in your ear. I just gotta open a door.
When some characters there's another thing too is like some characters will do what you described where it's like they'll keep a continuous pressure on you for like 8 seconds or so, and then you're like, okay, now you have your window. When you play characters like Jacko or Testament, it's not necessarily continuous pressure. There will be gaps and holes that you think you can do things in, but they're not really opportunities. And if you try anything, you get blown the fuck up. And that type of thing makes it way harder than, let's say, if you're fighting like a character like Chip, for example. Chip has a lot of pressure, but there are moments where you're like, okay, it's coming to the end. He can't extend this any further. Has to be the end here of the sequence. But if you're playing like Testament or Jack-O, you can kind of like choose how to put a gap earlier in so you can cover one later, and it makes it rough, you know. So that's pretty fun on offense. But yeah, it's just not the kind of character I feel like I could commit to based on based on that oppression feel of this game, you know.
You playing on PC?
Yeah, the lag needs to be as crisp as possible. And
then that means you have obviously downloaded the day zero, literally out for 1 second mod where you take Testament's cloak off.
I did
Get
not
a better look at those legs.
But
that was literally the first hour of the character's release.
I saw the screenshots of it. I saw those panties. I saw the bolt or the gear. Yep. They're in there. The modders are in there.
That shit is scandalous.
Unbelievable. And overall, too, like, when I did that Daisuke interview, I remember one of the questions I asked was like the older games had a lot of like visceral kind of things and gore, and the backgrounds were like very violent in some ways and very album covery. And I was kind of asking about like the change and how a lot of that stuff was missing from Exerd. And, his answer was like, oh yeah, like when you have a team of artists as opposed to like just me working on stuff, you're going to start to see more of a community vision of things. Which is why things got a little more anime. But a lot of that question was mainly thinking about Old Testament's animations and how they were a lot of like like blood and horror. And thankfully, that shit is right on point in the intro, which is like you see the little fairy like flying around, and then the skull on the scythe just crunches into them. The blood explodes, and the exploding blood freezes in midair and becomes the blade of the scythe. Like, that is fucking metal. That is absolutely old Guilty Gear, you know? So that shit is in check. Testament's awesome. Yeah. You know, and that's pretty much it of note. I mean, um, over on Wooly versus Elden Ring continues. Shout outs to Bayonetta. Boy, the Bayonetta fight.
Oh, right.
The you
Yeah,
know
okay,
where
yeah,
Fly Me to the
100%, yeah.
Moon starts playing. Yeah.
It feels really overt as like a homage.
Like her limbs are so like long and like just the colors are the same and it's like you're missing the glasses, but god damn, we see what's going on here. So that's great. And shout outs to getting to what I'm gonna call disc 2 of FF6. That's some shit.
Like you're not wrong, but at the same time, it like predates that terminology by
I
multiple
know
years.
exactly. That's what was so wild, and it's interesting because it's like I had heard I heard without context reference to like the event in ways where I didn't really know it was being described. So by not having that all these years, it was a fresh experience. I didn't know what the fuck was coming. Holy shit.
Yeah, the
Holy
World
shit,
of
that
Ruin
game.
is wild. I assume you did the stuff on the beach.
No. I haven't left the house. I
Oh,
woke
you haven't
up.
left the house. Okay.
I woke up and we're in the new setting. That's it.
So the World of Ruin is an absolutely like crazy like third act
Keep it
twist.
as vague as possible if you don't mind.
No, I'm not going to talk about it at all.
Okay.
But what's the craziest thing about it is its development history. Is that it only exists because work on FF6 was way ahead of schedule. It was not in the original idea. And they were so far ahead that they were like, what if we just kept the game going?
Wow. Okay.
So all of the World of Ruin is basically, it is the equivalent of like an RPG getting like an
DLC.
expansion pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had time, so we made Brood Wars.
Kinda.
Wow. Okay. Damn. Well, that's
also, it's wild to hear that, like, wow, 30% of this Super Nintendo game was created because they were so far ahead on their 18-month dev cycle.
Yeah. Although at the same time, right, when you've been working with tools that you know inside out, like the back of your hand and shit, I mean, it's gonna show towards the latest part, the end of the generation, right? But yeah, all that is great. That continues. So yeah, come check out FF6 and Elden Ring over on Wooly Versus. And I forget, but we're gonna have some fun fighting games coming up. So yeah, Saturday as well. Come check out what we got going on. Yeah, that was me. How's it going?
So for Pat's week, I don't really. I mean, the week has been shortened because of last week's later podcast. BC seems very nice. Everyone here is very nice, like very very nice. I ran into a lady on the street walking the Zangief, and she said, "Well, you know why?" I said, "Oh wow, everybody around here is really really kind and very polite." She said, "Well, you know why we're all so nice out here, right?" I go, "Why?" It's like, "Because we're stoned. I'm stoned right now." Says to me this woman who appears to be in her 80s.
Hell yeah.
And I'm like, I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it. I have been saying that my whole fucking life. And I had a goddamn BC old lady native just tell it to my fucking face.
420, so young man.
Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled. Great.
Yeah, just pulling up on the fucking scooter with the haze of a hot box smoke behind her.
Just great. Aside from that, aside from general New Living things, I'm waking up at 7 o'clock every day. I'm
Okay.
taking the boy out.
Okay.
I'm doing my household chores, and I'm done those household chores by about 10 p.m. Sorry, 10 a.m. And then I chill for a while before I either do this or go to my stream. And Paige is looking at me and getting pissed because like I'm losing weight, like visibly,
Hmm.
like day to day, and it's easy.
By just waking
um,
up with
by
a
by just
at farm
by just
o'clock.
doing all that normie shit that
Mm-hmm.
people do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like Poochie's dead ass exhausted because I walked him for a half hour in hilly, mountainous, forested terrain. So he's fucking done till later in the week. But in terms of this podcast of content to bring to you, I only have two things. One, separated from my normal television and use of media consumption, me and Paige tried to watch The X-Files last night, to which I say, wow, it's never been more clear why piracy is an option to many. I just wanted to watch the fucking X-Files. And the fucking pinging around of where the fuck is the X-Files and being told, oh, it's on Netflix. No, it got taken off Netflix. Oh, it's on this. No, you have to buy it at $3 an episode. Oh, it's on that. It's not available in Canada. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, I paid for a Netflix subscription at the time all of the X-Files was on there, which to me says I should be able to watch it regardless of whatever stupid fuck deals they made with all that bullshit.
When you click the I agree button, it says "fuck you, eat shit." We do what
What
we
a bunch of
want.
garbage. But in terms of video games, there's only one real thing to talk about, and it's the fact that for those of you watching at home, the visual version of the podcast, you can see I'm a lot closer, and that's because I'm on a desk and monitor setup for everything. I even got my PlayStation 5 hooked up into this monitor, and I'm gonna stay using a monitor. Like I may have a couch set up for special occasions or whatever. I'm not going back to not using a monitor for pretty much anything.
Hmm.
This experience has been extremely positive. Um, number one of which is over the weekend I decided to hit level cap on Dark Knight and FF14 because they have changes coming out tomorrow. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know, I didn't even realize there was a picture of a man in this icon. I thought it was just a. I thought interject was just a swirl of green and orange and an ellipses, but it's actually a man pointing at another man and going, "Shut up!" And I loaded up. I loaded up some games that in the past had given me some troubles with reading and text size, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this shit's a joke. Here, it's a fucking, it's not a, it's a tiny little baby problem. Not even, who cares? It's like I'm wearing big glasses.
Mm-hmm.
No, for real. I'm definitely like, if you have the ability to play video games at a desk, anyone, I highly suggest you figure out how to play video games at a desk.
I booted up Disco like yesterday, and I was just messing around and continuing on my new game plus, and all the text options that updated that made it a completely different experience. So
oh yeah, crazy, huge difference.
I fucking I wish that were standard, but it's not. So until then, it's like, look, there's some things that are made for couch and some things that are made for PC, and these days there's more and more PC and less couch. So that is felt. Well, every time I boot something up.
Even playing the PlayStation on this thing, I'm like, oh, this is a generally positive experience. The only thing that's a downside is that if you're playing certain things that don't have good anti-aliasing, the aliasing hurts more when you're closer because the blurriness of regular vision does not cover up some of those edges.
Hmm.
The the
Yeah.
the the innate Vaseline filter that is your meat eyes is not applicable.
I feel like the couch though is and at a certain point too, it's besides like the logistics of the way I record, I also feel that it's like it has a lot to do with how I grew up playing games as well. You know, how we all grew up
Mm-hmm.
playing games. Like, if you're one generation forward, you didn't have that. You just played at your PC games at your desk. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but for us at least, it was one where every major formative gaming experience was at the TV with on the couch. You know, that felt like the way to do it. So I do still have like a personal affinity for that.
Yeah, for me it flip flopped. It was depending on the house that we lived in and depending on the age that I was, it was playing it on a TV or playing it on the PC. The PC of which has some dank, awful memories associated with it because as a dedicated single player space caused like just no end of fights between my brother and I
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
to who got to use the PC. But I really obviously miss having a second monitor right here because fuck, I need it. But just the absolute fucking total clarity. I feel, despite having 20/20 vision, I feel like I just put on a pair of super glasses.
Right. I mean, I feel like the genres too make a huge difference. Like shit, like
Hmm.
an MMO that has like the HUD is the most insane thing ever.
Yeah.
I feel like that's gonna be the biggest difference. Whereas if you're playing like anything, it'll probably make a difference. But like a Devil May Cry is not gonna matter as much, right?
No.
You're not paying attention to the HUD as anywhere near as much when you're doing
So
that.
that
So
being said, what I have noticed is that for the first time in a long time, I've actually felt the thing of, oh, this FOV's weird. This FOV's made for being 8 feet away.
hmm.
I feel weirdly bad
how
feeling.
how big is the monitor in front of you?
The monitor in front of me is, I want to say 21 inches.
Okay. Did you boot up games that you were playing on the couch and like your default setting for the couch was like, yeah, you had to immediately switch it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Hmm.
I think my FOV in like Dead by Daylight is like too low. Right, for example. Um but yeah, no, man, playing on a monitor is fucking, oh man. I know this is the most boomer shit in the world. Like, I can't believe you play a PC game on a
Yeah,
PC stuff.
no,
It's like, no, but it's
it's been a
like
thing.
it's been a long goddamn while. And being this close means that I can comfortably put it down to 1440p because that's the native res of this monitor, which means now everything is just going like 140 plus FPS on absolutely everything. It feels nice, man. I'm trying to get a list of games that I either talked about on this podcast or in general where I went, fuck, I wish I could have played this, but the text has no scaling option. It's too small. And I'm
Were there
having
games
a
that you
trouble.
completely shut down because of that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, one that I can think of is called Legend of Grimrock and Legend of Grimrock 2, which are these really fantastic old school style, like Eye of the Beholder style grid based dungeon crawlers that have no UI scaling at all of any kind. And when I was playing it on my TV, like the buttons to click on were like literally like less than an inch wide
Hmm.
and invisible from my fucking couch. um Civ games. Civ is
Sure,
a really good
sure.
example
Yeah.
where I'm like hacking the fucking internal like interface shit to get it higher than it should be. Like I'm just it's just nice. It's just nice.
Wow.
Though I
He-
still don't have the
Healthy
thing
desk
that
gaming
some
at 7 a.m.
yeah. Oh dude, I woke up yesterday morning and got 5.5 levels in fucking Dark Knight before noon.
Well, you know, your body is going to probably start to trend back towards the adjustment, though, right? You're going to have to fight that process.
I have been fighting that process.
Okay.
There are 2 steps of fighting that process. One is getting enough energy expenditure so that
You're
I'm
tired
like
by the time the
white
sun goes
at
down.
10 p.m.
Mm-hmm,
The
mm-hmm.
second is having your wife at 10:30 p.m. go, Patrick, you're coming to bed. I swear to God. And I go, okay, so that we could do Wordle and do our bullshit and hang
Mm-hmm.
out. And then the most important one, is not having blackout curtains. Which everywhere else I've ever lived, I've obsessed with blackout curtains. Here, as is a temporary abode, I'm not going to buy blackout curtains to put on somebody else's fucking shit. So at 7 o'clock, that fucking sunbeam just blasts
Wakes.
you right in the
Mm-hmm.
fucking eyes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the dog. So here's the fun part: the dog never adjusted from Eastern time, so the dog wants to get up at 7, 8 o'clock to shit. And I'm going to get up to take that dog out to shit so that he don't
Mm-hmm.
shit in here. Um,
I definitely know that.
so the battle is ongoing to keeping this sleep schedule.
I mean, I will say this: like, I know that, like, when that morning grog sets in for me, which it always does, um, like, you know, I can crack you can have a coffee or an energy drink or do whatever your morning rituals are, but one that, like, I was not doing enough, and then, like, holy shit, noticed the difference, was like, there is a nice, like, sunbeam skylight spot, like, right behind me, where I can just sit and let the fucking the Kotal Khan
Vitamin
rays
D just
just
generate.
blast and just and like that, like the thing that the way the god lights, the broadcasting from heaven thing, letting that shit just hit you in the morning as you sit there groggy, like you can feel the numbers going up, you can feel the green numbers popping up above your head, you know.
In
Super
addition,
important.
I'm only having one of these a day anymore, and it's only directly before a work-related task, which would be right now, and have otherwise switched entirely off of all of that to tea.
Okay, that probably has a lot to do with um, your, like, improvement and loss of weight
In
and
all
all that
honesty,
stuff too as well.
this is the first one I've had. This
Okay.
monster.
Yeah, there you go. There you
The whole
go.
time I'm here. Don't care for green tea. I just like regular black tea or orange pekoe or what have you.
And then the next step
But yeah, man.
is tons and tons of H2O. Get hydro.
Yeah, I've been drinking a lot more water since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's water. I mean, what do you? Yeah. And what are you two idiots doing? Stop it. Whatever you two are doing, stop it.
Cool. So, what's going on this week?
What's going on this week? Let's see. If you go down to twitch.tv/PatStares at 4 p.m. West Coast, 7 p.m. East Coast, that'd be PST and EST. No, PDT
You're gonna need to
and
figure this out.
EDT?
You're gonna need
Are
to
we
figure this
are we
out.
on fucking daylight or standard right now? You know that, don't you?
It's
You put an
4:27
S.
p.m.
Yeah, is it an S or a D?
I don't ever put the D.
You don't?
I
Ever?
always write EST, and that's that.
Okay, whatever. At that time, I'm going to be streaming 2 things this week. No, 3 things this week. Tomorrow and day after, FF14's 6.1 patch is going to keep going. So they've reworked my class, they've added new story stuff, and they've completely from the ground up completely redone the game's PvP. So I'll be checking those out on those days. And then on Thursday, I'm just say fuck it and play some of my PS4 save of Elden Ring. And then on Friday, in I don't know if this is a series or not, but whatever. In recognition of my new monitor status and lack of issue with PC games that demand a PC setup, I will be playing the Defense of the Ancients 2 on Friday.
Good, 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 good.
Because I said, hey, what games did I not play? And somebody said, fucking Dota! And I'm like, you know what? I did say that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to play some Dota on Friday. And we'll compare and contrast to the League of Legends. I loaded the game up to, get the capture things right. And the fucking Valve, like, boom, sound played. And I felt like uncomfortable. I felt like I was being tricked.
Well, what I'm wondering is are you going to now have like all the league heads coming in and just shitting on every aspect of Dota while the Dota heads are like, look how fucking great it is, and then you get the battle waging for your attention.
You would think that happened, but it's actually been like, it's been very chill. It hasn't been like, I can't believe you're playing that. This other one is so much better, because they're both free. So the reason that I played League first was bluntly, well, like 2 of my friends already played League back in the day. So if I go play League and go, hey, does anyone want to play League with me? I have 2 people that I hang out with in my Discord that'll go, yeah, fuck it, I'll play a thing. And that's that. Right? But because Dota's free, if I was like, hey guys, I'm getting really into Dota, do you guys want to try? Like, they'll try it. I will say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop that. I will say that my experience with people talking shit about the games is that the people who actually talk the most shit by far about Dota or League, and specific to those 2, are people who incessantly play both and hate both. Like
that's the only real
playing,
solution, isn't it?
They're playing the first one to take the stink out of their mouth from the second one until they can't handle the stink of the first one anymore, and then go to the second one and just get mad at that.
So there are no lines drawn. It's just one big crowd, and everyone together is collectively like, ugh, fuck these. Yeah.
The only thing, hey, could you stop that, sir? Could you, sir? The only thing that I will say about them is that I think Dota League's art style is a lot stronger, but Dota actually gives you every hero to start for free. So I think it's been really obvious that Dota is the obviously better deal, like regardless of quality, because the whole game part is completely free.
Well, it's a better taste of whether or not you're gonna like it, because you can try to your heart's content.
Yeah, but I mean, like anything that comes out for that game in terms of gameplay is free. But like the League of stuff, like I think the characters look a lot cooler in League, whereas in Dota, it's like, yo, that is literally just a night elf unit that you changed just enough that you wouldn't get sued. Like 100%.
Which has more characters?
I'm gonna look that up right now. How many characters? You know what? Someone will just say it in the chat. League keeps adding some. League has over 140. And Dota 2 has 123.
Comparable.
Have they ever... I'm going to just put this out there so that a ghost tells me. But I know that at some point, Dota 2 was in this process of the only thing that Dota 2 was doing was translating older heroes from original mod Dota into Dota 2. And the last I had heard of it, they weren't making new ones. I assume that period is over. They finished that process years ago. Well, I'm up to date.
Okay. They're making new heroes
I
now.
was I was also worried because I think I mentioned when I played League, there was a program called Blitz that you could install on your PC that would monitor your game and just pick your loadout and
Oh
pre-match
yeah,
shit
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
I
And
remember
then
that.
it
Yeah.
would give you stats on like, hey, you're gonna be laning against so and so. You have a 41% win rate. Make sure to blah blah blah. And apparently Dota 2 has that, but it's community based and within the engine itself. It's not a separate program. So I'll be interested to someone screaming at me to hit the button that I should have hit. I'll be honest, I never encountered the toxicity in League that people talked about, but I never played ranked. So
Didn't you
so who
talk
knows?
about the fucking shit kids that were with the midder feed and the like? Didn't you have some wasted
Oh yeah, I did.
45-minute experiences? Yeah.
I guess it just didn't hurt my feelings because I thought it was funny.
Okay. So that definitely was a thing, you know. Yeah.
What did the era of toxic Halo lobbies immunize me to League of Legends? It's possible.
Or God, what the fuck is it? Pokemon Unite toxicity?
I think the best thing these games do is not let you talk to people. I think that's the smart play. I think that's the smart play. Like in FF14 PvP, like 4 years ago, I think it was, they just disabled the ability to talk to your teammates or talk to the opposing team
Just nothing
at
Yeah.
all. Just
Yeah.
nothing. You can hit a button that says, "Hey,
Ping
grab the
system.
objective,"
Yeah.
or "Come back."
Ping system, and have the ping have a cooldown, because even you can still be toxic on your pings, you know. Yeah.
People are pointing out that Dota has voice chat. It's not going to have voice chat on my fucking game. Just turn that shit all the way down to 0.
Is the plan to queue only with your group?
No, I'll queue into bullshit. Fuck it, I don't give a fuck. But
Okay.
that audio tab, the tab where it says player voice volume, just drag that right across to 0.
People definitely are gonna love that.
I don't care.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna get the chat box of like yelling, "Turn your fucking mic on," you know, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Or not. Who knows? Cool. So
Yeah, so if you want to check out that shit show, go down to twitch.tv/PatStaresAt this week. I would rather lose 10 games in a row than hear someone talk to me in a video game anymore. Like when I see folks saying like, "But you really need it to win," and it's like, "Oh man, do I not give a single fuck anymore?" I remember playing Apex, and I was like, "Hey man, this is a teamwork game. I'm gonna turn on the oh, we're gonna turn that right the fuck back up." I think I had voice chat on for sub 10 seconds, and I heard a 10-year-old with the shittiest mic in the world go, "Hey, you motherfuckers, got you to jump to the play." Turn that right down.
I mean, I would say that like, yeah, you must turn that off to have a superior experience, but superior to no mic is mics on with people you know that are fucking
100%.
sane. That's
so if I play Dota on Friday and I really like Dota, I will convince at least 1 or 2 of my friends that played League, "Oh, would you like to come play Dota with me because it's free, there's no blah blah blah." And then we'll blow an hour or 2-3 hours a week on some fucking Wednesday, and we'll have a nice pleasant experience. I remember a million years ago when I listened to the Giant Bombcast. I forget who it was, but it was a guest on their podcast who was describing playing either Dota or League, and it doesn't really matter which. But they described how there are basically two games. There's did you and four other friends decide to all start playing together legitimately could be the best game of all time every year. Is it anything other than that experience
Mm-hmm.
specifically?
Mm-hmm.
Don't even boot it. Now,
That's
personally, I think there is some leeway in between, but it's wild that that is just the reality.
it wasn't until Overwatch that I learned the difference, you know?
Oh, yeah,
I
because you fighting games are solo affairs.
I never knew anything about that world. It was Overwatch that opened my fucking eyes to it. I'm like, "Oh, there's no going back." Like I don't do this often, but when I do, it's gonna have to be like this, you know?
Yeah, and then you get into the situation that I got into Overwatch, and I'm sure you got into Overwatch, which is you play with a group of four other people, or five other people with over. I don't remember what the team sizes were, and you're
6v6,
like,
yeah.
yeah, this is great. We're having a great time. We're gonna blow a Saturday afternoon doing this, blah blah blah, and then one of us gets tired of it, and so now you're playing a slightly smaller stack in not the full group.
Didn't have that. We
Oh,
had
you didn't have that?
we had multiple we had more than enough, and there were and we would just rotate, you know?
Okay.
Uh
So
the
in my
Black Gift
experience,
days
it's
had a more than full. Mm-hmm.
in my experience, it's one person gets tired of it, and then you're doing the group at a non-maximum amount, and then that's not quite as good of an experience, and then somebody else gets tired of it, and now you're only fielding half the team, and now it's way worse,
Hmm.
and so on and so forth.
Hmm. I didn't have that, but the people playing with me did.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, that's definitely possible. Yeah, if you didn't have that, that
Uh,
means you were the guy to bail first.
but there were more than six people around, and we would just whoever was there would jump in, and yeah. Right on. Okay, quick break, and
Let's
then
take
we'll
a quick
jump
break.
into section 2.
All right.
Okay. Sponsors.
Whom we love.
This week, podcast is sponsored by Stitch Fix, who have you covered for your clothing needs. Now, Pat, if you continue on this trajectory of health and wellness,
I may need entirely new clothes.
There you go, right? You can see where this is going. Now, when it comes time to pick out your clothes, you can rely on your own sense of style and taste, which, you know.
I'm wearing a Monster Hunter shirt right now.
Or you can get experts to help you elevate your look so that you can impress all the 420 grannies that you come across and various other disciples of the bud. You wanna look good. You wanna match your new shape and trim with experts, and Stitch Fix is all about that. So basically, they send you a number of items that are going to be custom tailored towards your style, your general shape, and what fits you best, and your price range, of course, as well. And you fill out a quiz so that they can learn more about what you like, what colors, and then you keep what you want, send back what you don't. And it's just that simple. Or there's an alternative situation. They can also have you browsing through a personalized shop built on your tastes and style once you fill out the quiz. Lightwear, innerwear, outdoors, bomber jackets, flannel, whatever your vibe and lifestyle is. I mean, hey, like out there, you can rock a flannel.
I think I'm required to get plaid at some point.
At some point, at least one item or article on your person. Mm-hmm. They got the experts to help you out with that. So take a look. You can get started today by filling out a free style quiz at stitchfix.com/superbeast. Take advantage of free shipping and returns. That's stitchfix.com/superbeast to try Stitch Fix. One more time, stitchfix.com/superbeast.
Thank you, Stitch Fix.
Thank you. This week, the podcast is also sponsored by Bombas. And when we're talking Bombas, we're talking about socks. We're talking about your feet and getting something nice to put on that horrible calloused thing.
I've been wearing socks a lot more lately.
Socks are important. They're nice, and when you have a good pair,
they feel good on my feet.
When you have a good pair, you're not going to ignore them. If you've been wearing, some ratty garbage that has got the seams in it, feels uncomfortable. You know what the worst is when like you're taking off a pair. You ever have a situation where you're like the back of your arch is like dry enough that the sock catches on it?
I may have encountered a similar situation.
Yeah, me neither. So
where you can't stop wearing the sock regardless of whether or not you pull it off.
You pull the sock off and then it catches onto the dryness, and it's the worst. Avoid that shit. Just don't do it. You know what's not going to do that? Super soft materials like Pima cotton, merino wool, and cashmere. You're probably thinking,
cashmere for socks just sounds opulent as fucking hell.
You're probably thinking, I don't deserve cashmere on my feet.
I really don't.
but consider opening yourself up to a world of comfort you've never experienced before. Bombas has not just socks; they've also got underwear, t-shirts, and other lightweight and very smooth feeling materials that'll just become the kind that are like, yeah, I don't want to wear the other ones. I want to find my favorite one, the one that feels nice on the body, you know? And of course, there's with the socks, underwear, and t-shirts, there's always the pair that is delivered to the homeless as well, is part of their missions. So go to bombas.com/superbeast to get 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/superbeast for 20% off. bombas.com/superbeast. Thank you, Bombas.
Thank you, Bombas.
Last but not least, this week we're sponsored by Hello.
What?
Up noises.
I was gonna say definitely not least.
Definitely not least.
Went too fast.
There you go. HelloFresh, farm fresh, pre-portioned meals and ingredients delivered right to your door. So again, the motif here is hide your incompetence, hide your inability to dress yourself, hide your inability to cook, hide all of it by letting experts take care of it. You can be a very impressive person if you just pay for a bunch of experts to stand behind you and make you look impressive.
They give you little pictures. The pictures are helpful.
They really are. You just put them together, and of course they come fresh. We got our delivery and enjoyed ourselves some very nice roast chicken, and yeah, perfect for the lean and green keto type of meals that I've been doing. And that's not the only options, of course. There's tons of available that you can get delivered.
Oh, they got all sorts of stuff, man.
For your flavors and sizes and preferences, whether you're going green, you want to be vegan, vegetarian, you want to do protein, paleo, you want to do just regular, balanced. All of that is conveniently available. And again, you're getting better recipes than like whatever you're trying to burn over the stove. And impress
let me tell you, I've been using a propane stove lately, and it's terrifying.
Yeah. There you go. That's it. So that's that's the deal. If I feel, look, it's my job to sit here and get the sponsor to remind you that you're not enough.
You're basically
you're garbage.
A pathetic piece of garbage. And
it's
you need
my job.
Dedicated little diagram on how to feed yourself, or else you'll fucking die. Think about it.
You suck at the thing that you're trying to do, and there's people that are better than you at that thing. And in this case, it happens to be the food. So, get the food from the experts, and it'll be good. And then you don't have to fail by yourself and be like, oh no, and everyone's like, damn, if only they knew how to cook, it would be way more impressive. You know? HelloFresh knows how to cook, and they're helping you out with that. Right? There you go. Yes. I berate you. We call in them. They send in the backup. You get to look good. Everybody's like, wow, you're the best. You steal all the glory. Just that simple. Go to HelloFresh.com/SuperBeast16 and use code SuperBeast16 for up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. Once again, that's HelloFresh.com/SuperBeast16, and the code is SuperBeast16, because you're going to get up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts. That's America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh. Thank you, HelloFresh.
Thanks, HelloFresh.
All right. What is happening in the news this week?
All right, let's jump right into it. The only news that matters this week. Dark Knight Action Blood Weapon adjustment now grants 5 stacks of blood weapon. Effect duration has been increased from 10 to 15 seconds. Action
5 stacks.
Stalwart Soul
10 to 15 seconds.
Now acquired at level 40, previously level 72. Action Living Dead adjustment, quote, The additional effect restores HP with each weapon skill successfully delivered or spell cast has been added with a cure potency of 1500.
Yeah.
If an amount of HP totaling your maximum HP is restored before the Walking Dead timer runs out, the effect will now change to Undead Rebirth with a duration carried over for the time remaining for Walking Dead. While under the effect of Undead Rebirth, most attacks will not lower your HP below 1.
Yeah. I got one. The following items can now be equipped regardless of gender. Giant list of Monster Hunter shit.
That is a great, actually, like, some of those items look way better than the other gendered version, so people are really happy.
And so, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, does this not mean that, like, you can use, because Monster Hunter still locks them over, but in FF with the crossover,
yeah, it's the only way you can put the girl
you can see them on the opposite, right?
Monster Hunter stuff, yeah,
right. So you could actually see how cool it would be if Monster Hunter didn't restrict you by using a different game.
The Monster Hunter stuff in 14 is what if the people in 14 made shit out of Rathalos.
Oh, not the same gear.
It's their own styling. It's not just a transplanted gear. It's a lot sleeker. It has more of a coat.
I saw that shit pop up, and I was like, wait. Is Monster Hunter like getting their shit together? And it's like, no, this is the 14 crossover.
Fuck
like,
no!
God.
Fuck you! Never!
Damn. Yeah. Well, there you go. I saw that one.
That one is actually really nice. The Yoshi P a while ago said that they were taking steps to there were a lot of gendered pieces of gear in the game, and it really sucked because some of them looked way better than the others, and some of them were gendered, and you were like, I want to wear the tuxedo on my female character, for example.
I want the cool armor.
Or, more accurately, I want to play a male bunny and dress him up like a tart.
Sure.
Which is going to be an explosion in about 13 hours.
Like, your choice. Like, I want the Gurren Lagann armor.
Yeah.
As opposed to the fucking whatever, the frilly thing.
There are also like boots and hats and shit like that. Like that like wasn't even like it wasn't even like traditionally visibly gendered. Like there was like a pair of high boots that would look good on any character, and
you're just not allowed.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. You're a boy. You can't wear these boots. So they made a large effort to remove as much of that shit as possible. And the start of that is when they let everybody equip the 2B high thighs. Sorry, thigh highs. Way back.
So yeah, good on that. Okay. I have a question. And
ask your question, sir.
I feel as if I need to throw this out into the ether, and if anyone can explain to me, what does the following sentence mean?
Oh, the wording on some of this shit is so bad.
Oh no, not the 14 shit, not the 14.
Okay, just generalize otherwise. Okay.
Topic change.
Let's go. Let's see what you got.
The heart resides within the soul, which is in turn guided by fate to its rightful place.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? What?
I'll tell you what it means.
In what version of English does this actually mean anything?
It means Kingdom Hearts is light. But more specifically, it means that Sora has a new, more human being look to go along with the fact that he lives in Aoyama, Tokyo now.
So it seems.
Because he's going to be hanging out with Star Wars and Marvel characters.
Done. Nailed it. You got it all in.
So the KH4 trailer dropped, and it looks visually very impressive. But more interestingly is that there is a shot of a forest landscape in which you can literally see the foot of an AT-AT on the ground.
I think? Anyway.
Whatever. It's one of those fucking robots.
Yep. And now he looks like not an anime character, but like a Square anime character, which looks a lot more like a Japanese person.
not only do we not have his stupid clown shoes, but we're able to get a look at his fucking disgusting grippers as he lounges shoe and socksless on a couch.
And I guess the move is to just kind of like put Tokyo as the. Well, no, I feel like I got very like Noctis walking around the trailer world of 15 kind of vibes.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
So, yeah, Star Wars is going to be there, and all the other things are going to be there. As someone on the outside of this, it is kind of interesting because I noticed that when Kingdom Hearts 3 was announced, it was explosive, and this too was explosive, but it was cautious explosion. Everyone was like, "Yeah, huh," was kind of the sound.
And it's very much like a, I don't know what to call it, like a theming trailer. Like what we probably saw is probably not the real game actually. It's probably like a more concept thing. And no release date announced, so I think everyone's being kind of cautious.
And I think they also announced like 2 other like mobile things before that or whatever, but
sure, they did. Yeah.
When I clicked on the trailer, I watched the trailer. It showed me 2 other mobile things before it got to that one, and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I bet.
Yeah, okay. Is that gonna happen, like this decade, or?
I bet it will.
Okay.
Now that Square has moved over to the Unreal Engine. I have a strong suspicion that development will be a little snappier.
Fucking clip it for 2030. Yeah, cool. Was 3? Did people? Are people nervous about 4 because of the way 3 went?
I think the most depressing thing about Kingdom Hearts to me, by far, was that I played 1 and then 2, and then I was like, when's 3 coming out? And that was like a 10, 15-year period. And then 3 came out, and everyone went nuts, and I asked my chat, hey, I really loved Kingdom Hearts 2 a lot. Is Kingdom Hearts 3 better than 2? And was met with a resounding, overwhelming consensus of no. Kingdom Hearts 2 for the PS2 that released in the aughts is still the best one. And I went, oh, cool. Great. Glad to have followed this series.
3 was a game, is what I'm seeing here.
People like 3, and 3 apparently was very good, but 2 is the best one to date.
3 sure did happen. It sure was a video game. Okay. Well,
2 is really fun to play. 2 has really good combat.
Realistic Sora means realistic everybody, right?
That's right.
They
had already prepped with that art style stuff when they had like Jack Sparrow and shit like that in the.
Oh, did they? Yeah. Okay.
Jack Sparrow and Tron and other like human beings.
Which is just going to make the Disney characters weirder and weirder as time goes on.
100%.
And their clothing is going to be now real clothing, but the characters themselves can't go any further.
Goofy and Donald appear in that trailer as is.
I mean, I'm thinking of like when the Smash, when the Brawl trailer shows off, like Mario now has like real jean stitching, but Kirby's Kirby.
Kirby's the same.
So, yeah, Kingdom Hearts 4. The heart resides within the soul, which in turn is guided by fate to its rightful place. Man.
Sure, man.
Wow. Anyways, speaking of visual upgrades.
Uh-huh.
Well, Chrono Cross came out, and Digital Foundry did their thing, and it seems that the remaster on PS5 runs worse than the original PS1 game.
Of course it does.
And the Radical Dreamers edition that features a new version that upgrades some of the arts, has redrawn stuff, and has some upscaled stuff as well, actually will run worse in some cases, whereas the original will struggle to keep a solid 30 frames per second, at some points dropping down to 15 and even 10.
Yeah, so it's not that Chrono Cross's remastered edition runs worse. A lot of these older games have like some foibles, and you're like, oh, it's not technically perfect. It runs way, way worse. And Chrono Cross was one of those games back in the day where even then it had a lower frame rate than some of its contemporaries, which isn't something a lot of people thought about during the PS1 era. Like it would hover between 20 and 30 for pretty much the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Chrono Cross Remaster like runs like shit. It runs like garbage.
At the start and end of every battle, you can see it struggling the most, and it's just like, if at bare minimum you're not gonna hit what the original thing was doing, like what's
especially since emulators can run it at 60 no problem.
Yeah.
So all I can see, the only possible explanation for this is that they were unhappy with the game's original release, and for this remaster, they wanted to try and hit their original target a little more closely, so that when you were playing Chrono Cross and trying to enjoy the music and trying to enjoy the story, that in the back of your mind, you kept going, fuck! Fuck! Why does it feel like this? Why does it look like this? Why does this fucking game gotta be like this? God damn it! And that, like, a really faithful adaptation wouldn't have brought that across. So they wanted to really up it so they could get to the true heart of the Chrono Cross experience, which is, why does this game have to be shit like this?
Of course.
The other alternative is, despite this being an ostensible classic, they just threw it out there with fucking no effort at all because they don't give a goddamn fuck about it.
So the problem seems to be that it's a shitty emulator. They're they have a really bad emulator that you're forced to use here. That theory also being more cemented by the fact that you can see virtual PS1 memory cards in the save menus.
Oops.
So it's straight up just badly emulated. And it doesn't matter if you're playing it even if you're on PC with a fucking incredible machine. It's the emulator that is struggling to handle everything. So
whenever Square re-releases any of their old platforms, it is a legitimate, unironic coin flip as to whether or not it's going to be a piece of shit or not. And it just genuinely seems to depend on the studio they gave it to.
Mm-hmm.
Do they care about the source material at all?
Yeah,
like Legend of Mana came out, and Legend of Mana's port or re-releases Aces.
Well, that's every classic that we get ported these days, right? It's like, is the studio porting it responsible, and do they give a shit about making sure that it's clean? Because like it seems as if not just them, but obviously Konami, obviously we've seen it with SNK, we've seen a bunch of games where like porting old shit, the company is not going to stop the release because it's running worse. They'll put it out anyway, Then
they'll put out a non-committal statement, and depending on how angry people are, maybe they'll assign 2 guys to work on a patch over the next 6 months.
Okay. Seems like with some manual fixes applied, you can get the PC version working.
Oh, I'm
Is what
sure.
someone in the chat saying. So okay, that's nice. You got
So
Radical Dreamers. You can read the text on that, I suppose. But that fucking sucks, man. God damn it! Like your job is to come in at bare minimum the way it was when you released it, and then build on top of that. You know,
so
it's
what's
obvious, but fuck.
what's terrifying to me is that you look at Legend of Mana, which came out thumbs up, like really. You look at Saga Frontier, a game which I really strongly dislike, but I'm willing to admit that its re-release was done with absolute care, and people who do like that game were extremely happy with the Saga Frontier 1 re-release. And then this Chrono Cross thing, and then the fact that I think it just got rated. There's a Tactics Ogre re-rating
Yep,
that's
that's at the
happening,
docket point. Tactics Ogre has been
and the Final Fantasy
trademarked.
Tactics remaster or whatever you want to call it was in that leak list from Nvidia, which every single goddamn thing on that has come true. And it's like I don't give a shit about Legend of Mana. I don't care about Saga Frontier, and I do care about Chrono Cross in the way that this is hilarious to me. Um, but the idea that they would finally recognize the existence of Final Fantasy Tactics for the first time in like 15 years and botch that is like holding a fucking like sword of Damocles over my fucking head.
The when I hearing about like whenever they do shit like porting mobile Chrono Trigger to Steam, excuse me, or like some of their terribly legendarily terrible like FF7 shit that they did back then and whatever, like the of course the Squeenix PC port, again there's that back and forth of like it'll be shit or it'll be good, who knows, it's up to who's doing the job. um the fact that like it's still a constant thing, and like even in the case of the FF6 remaster, which is excellent, I'm enjoying it a lot, but it still does have like the weird text issue where it's like they just picked an awful default font that I had to go in and mod.
And they just didn't change it for any of the releases for some reason.
Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like out the gate, why don't you stop? Just immediately, just not do that. It's such a simple thing. And there's also it's very minor, but like every time you load a save, the game loads, and then you can't move for like at least 5 seconds or so. There's like just a weird like it's still loading even though you see everything kind of thing. But yeah, it's just like it's still a problem no matter how many times this happens. um I don't know. If you can PC fix that, that's nice, but at this point it just seems like, yeah, well, just play the fucking original.
Just
Just play the
for
original is what you're being
tactics,
told.
the one that it hurts me so bad is that I talk with a couple people on Twitter who really like strategy RPGs, and like every time a strategy RPG comes out, it's still compared to Tactics, which I think came out in '99, right? And that's unfair to judge everything by the standards of Tactics. It's tiring, in fact. Like a Triangle Strategy was being basically reviewed along. Oh, was it '98? Oh, whatever. But Triangle Strategy is basically being reviewed by a lot of outlets as is Triangle Strategy as good as Final Fantasy Tactics? And the answer is like probably not, but it's still really good. And now that's kind of weirdly unfair. Um, but it's still the best one in its genre. Like, still. That game came out over 20 years ago. And it never got a fucking real sequel to itself. It got like a spin-off couple sequels. And they like nobody has ever made one that was better than it. And it's so fucked up. Why? Even the people who made it didn't make one that was better than it. They didn't even try.
Here's what you do. If you're unhappy with the poorer running version of Chrono Cross, boot up your PS3 or your Vita, and grab your PS1 Classic copy of Chrono Cross, and experience that version of it, since that's the original getting directly ported. Go ahead and boot that up.
Well, don't do that right now.
Well, no, but
because your license on it somehow expired back in 1969 as of this week.
So you probably can't actually. You're not allowed.
No, not right now.
But that's probably how you'd fix that problem once they decide to fix the fact that your game has updated itself to have a license to 1969, preventing you from playing your copies purchased on your Vita or your PS3.
To be fair, they came out and said this is like a bug.
Yeah,
this is like a bug.
It's not a fuck you. You can't buy what you can't play what you bought.
The timing of Chrono Cross made it look incredibly malicious.
It did, which is why we heard about it, certainly. But someone posted a story. Basically, they booted up their Vita copy of Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger, and their games were dated as expiring in 1969, not allowing them to boot them. But every other old PS1 classic they had did work. It was specifically those ones. There's also a incredibly frustrating / hilarious story of them calling up the Sony helpline and seeing if they can fix the problem, because clearly this is an issue on their end, only to be told to format the console, wipe everything,
just go down the whole list of
and
shit they obviously don't know.
While they on the line and the person, everyone involved knows this is not solving the problem because it is a thing that is happening on the PSN server, but we're still going to go through this clown shoes song and dance. So they go through the process, and of course it doesn't fucking fix it. And then multiple people also report that they're seeing it happen to their copies of FF6 as well, which, again, weird timing, you know? But yes, it was apparently a bug.
Hey, I want to use this as an example. So I've called Sony and I've called Nintendo for technical support for things in the past, in the relatively recent past. The Sony one was, as you described, was a gentleman that was like, well, have you tried that? No. That's not the game. I pre-ordered a game and it just didn't unlock, dude. It has nothing to do with the... eventually I had to be transferred to someone who spoke like a human and was able to just refund me the purchase. When I called Nintendo, it was for a really stupid problem where I had bought Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, and then Capcom sent me a code 2 weeks early, and then I put in the code, and it ate my fucking code, and then went, eat shit, it's still unlocking in 2 weeks.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's a weird one.
Which is why I never buy Capcom games until the absolute dead last second, because Capcom tends to send me codes.
If it's already flagged on your account.
And I spoke to I think it was Yuri, and I'm like, dude, what do I do? And he's like, I have no idea.
Yeah,
he's like, I could give you another code, but I'm pretty sure it's just gonna eat it again.
Yeah, that's a hardware problem. Mm-hmm.
So I called Nintendo, and I explained the problem, and I am immediately met with, oh man, I don't know how to fix that. Something I've never heard from anyone in tech support my whole life. The Nintendo person actually had the decency to just tell me, oh yeah, that's a weird problem. Give me a second. And then I got transferred to their boss, and then they went, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to delete all these off your account.
Exactly.
And then
refund
just going to put a code in. You have a new code from? Okay, great. Get the new one, and then you'll put it in, and I'll just wipe the whole thing out. And it worked in I spent maybe 20 minutes on the phone. So just it's weird. Despite Nintendo being the most ass backwards by far on all of this online shit, when I actually had to talk to a human being, it was a totally pointless. A totally painless process.
That's
Whereas
good.
if I've never been able to get to a human for Microsoft ever in my life. Even when I got the red ring, I went through a robot. And Sony's people are useless,
I mean, I will
and
say,
then Nintendo's are humans.
so when it comes to this type of issue with like a licensing update to a specific title, that is usually handled by pre-mastering, and um, there is a form that you fill out and then send to them. So the
Mm-hmm.
process of registering these games on the new versions of these games led to them updating the old ones. Certainly, this kind of thing being like, it's very suspicious with the timing, and like it seems like
Oh, it
borderline
looked because
nefarious
the
to
situation that you described actually took place, where people went, "Fuck this remaster! I'm gonna go play my old one." Oh,
ex-
what?
yeah, that sequence of events is very, very fucking like shitty. But like, from the way that the way that goes, I feel like that is very likely someone did send in the wrong paperwork for the older ones alongside newer ones, because the person filing the newer shit probably didn't have to file old paperwork versions when they were doing for when the classic went through. You know, it's I don't know. This is pure out of my ass speculation, but like, that is a Square submitting the paper thing, not a
Mm-hmm.
Sony updating it for no reason thing. You know. Anyway, fucking weird, but I guess fixed now. But of course, this is all like just another horror story in the era of digital ownership, where
Somebody asks, "Hey, why does it have an expiration date in the first place?" The answer is really simple, because any of these places that sell anything that's ever going to be timed, like a movie or TV show or anything time limited, means they're going to build their system assuming an expiration date on anything. And
mm-hmm,
then they go, well, it'll just renew every year, or the
mm-hmm.
dates will be 50 years off and we'll deal with that later.
The word is planned obsolescence, right? Like, it's, it is what it is. You buy it, and then like, if you're not connected, you're gonna have to fucking verify that you are, and whatever bullshit it puts you through. Well, can force them to make you buy it again later. It's as simple as it
Yeah.
is. Um, yeah, I it's part of the horrors of digital ownership. It sucks, especially when Sony has you to force you to connect and verify that type of shit. Um, but anyway, I feel like the shutdown horrors usually are, you'll never be able to buy these games again, not I can't boot the fucking thing I bought. You know?
Yeah. And luckily, there's some dedicated individuals out there that will make sure that if you're dedicated enough, you'll somehow be able to use your old software.
There's a lot of there's,
Heroes.
there's a lot of boats out there on the open seas, and they're trying to find their way to Monkey Island, because pirating is what you do in Monkey Island.
It's just what you do.
Monkey Island Return to Monkey Island has been announced, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
They're pitching it as like the sequel to the second game, but like, this is part 6. So I don't know. But
Well, you see, Wooly, Street Fighter V is a prequel to Street Fighter 3.
takes place
Again,
between 2 and 3.
I hate it. I hate it. I
Yeah.
hate it so much.
I didn't play the later Monkey Island games, like the 3D ones. I think from what I remember, because like they were in the office being tested. I remember at some point, the Telltale ones at the very least, but I wasn't on them. But like, I remember hearing that it was like the first of the 3D ones was like not great, and then the Telltale ones were kind of all right. Um, and then that just kind of where it left off.
My experience with Monkey Island is they put out that remaster of the first one with all the nice sprites, and I'm like, man, Monkey Island's a classic. I should really get in on this. And so I started playing it. I played it for 2, 3 afternoons, and then I had this moment where I was like, oh wait, I fucking hate adventure games. What the fuck am I doing? I'm miserable.
Old indie style. Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh wow, I hate these. What am I doing? This game's great. I hate it.
They live in my memories, man. I don't need to go back. They live in my memories. Um, there's a lot of just mashing an object into the right verb onto the right pixel on the screen is hard
Yeah.
progress that you need to just get past. And fuck you, just stand there and do it. Yeah. Um Still though, there's a little bit of nostalgia and soft spot in my heart for Guybrush
Oh, they're
Threepwood.
clearly great and they're well put together. I just hate every single thing about them other than their presentation, which is cool.
Um Anyway, so that's been dropped. Also, you mentioned Tactics Ogre has been Reborn has been trademarked, and
Hopefully
um,
that's a real remaster and not just a re-release, because Tactics Ogre owns.
so I remember when FF Tactics, when my friend first told me about it, and I remember he told me he was like, yeah, like this is a crossover between Final Fantasy and Tactics Ogre, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's and then after Tactics FFT, I never heard about Tactics Ogre again. Like, I was like, oh, I guess that, yeah, I guess.
Let Us Cling Together is pretty cool.
Mm, um, seems dope. I like the fact that the camera can rotate so that you can see it top view or isometric. That's pretty dope.
I, j- I still don't understand why it's so uncommon for strategy RPGs to let you move your character around like you could in Shining Force, like it was a regular RPG, and then you would get somewhere and have to do a strategy battle.
Hmm.
Those Shining Force games are goddamn incredible for that reason alone.
I always wanted to rent Ogre Battle 64, but I never did. It was always one of the things I was like, man, well, I should rent this. And then I just always grab something else instead. Yeah. Hmm.
I also should have played Ogre Battle 64, but none of my friends that had N64s had it. And yet they would play FFT constantly when I lent them my PS1. So I don't know what the fuck was going on with that.
Yeah,
I
but
think people just don't like ogres. I think that's it.
well, here's the question: is what are the odds that this refiled trademark is gonna be some mobile shit versus like an actual game? You know,
I assume it'll be an actual game.
hopefully. And it'll get the Valkyrie profile treatment. Monkey paw. Anyways, so that ain't the
Like it's at
only.
the point where when a collaboration for FF14 is announced, it's way more exciting than these properties getting new games.
Hmm.
Because at least the collaboration in 14 will be like respectful.
Yeah. Look, it's I'm not putting that evil out into the world. I'm just telling you what the fucking likelihoods are.
You
Um
did put that evil. It's your fault now if that
I
happens.
you know I kind of did, but that's okay. Not the only remake, of course. We got a couple other things. So Max Payne 1 and 2 has been announced as well.
Hey,
By
those games
Rockstar.
are fucking incredible.
Um so remake implication being like complete from scratch modern
Yeah.
redoing of the whole thing.
I really genuinely hope they just use higher quality assets for all the paneling, because if they take Sam Lake's stupid fucking face off Max 1, like, that's going to be a goddamn travesty.
Pretty cool that it's 1 and 2 together, actually, because I feel like
Yeah.
that's what everyone would want as well.
I love how 1 and 2 like was like, here's how you do bullet time in a video game, and then it's here's how you do the other bullet time in a video game, and they've pretty much not been topped since.
I remember just trying to think of like how to do that in a multiplayer context though, and like without slowing down the entire like match for everybody as soon as they popped it, and it I remember like me and my friends were talking about like, okay, what if there was like a time bubble where the bullet time occurred in just this area, you know? But anyway, this works obviously best in a PvE context. And then Max Payne 3 what did Max Payne 3 do with it? Did they do a bubble, or was it just like
No,
everybody
just,
experiences it?
No, it was regular slowdown, but wait, was it? I can't remember.
So wait, if I was not in the room with you and you used bullet time, would my game suddenly just slow down?
People are talking in Max Payne 3 multiplayer. The way it worked was line of sight.
Line of sight.
And basically,
okay.
you would shoot a cone of slowed time at people.
Okay. Interesting. Huh.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, because the point I always thought of was like, it would be shitty to be suddenly constantly slowed down just walking around while someone across the map was doing
somebody on
shit.
the other end of the map was just doing it.
If it's used on you like a weapon, then at least you're being targeted specifically. So then other people walking by that see you slowed down in that moment.
I guess so.
So if A is using line of sight slowdown on B, and C is around the corner, and C cannot see A, but they can see B, do they see B slowly moving, and then they can just...
I don't know.
You know? Huh.
I know Kindling Floor decided to just be like, at sometimes the server's going to slow down, and then everyone gets to hit shots, but it wasn't versus, it was cooperative, so it was always a benefit. I still think Max Payne 2 has the best implementation of bullet time ever, which is it starts as regular bullet time, but every time you kill somebody, you get a little faster until you're moving at normal speed and everyone is basically
is slowed down. Flash time. Yeah, exactly. If someone else saw someone being slow, they got slowed down as well. Oh, wow. Okay, so it was a chain reaction where you don't run around. You only get slowed down when you're involved in the battle, and if you're on your own, not looking at anybody, then you're not getting slowed down. Okay, so you don't have to feel like a shitty constant stuttering of the game going into bullet time and not unless you're participating in the action. Huh.
I really, really hope those games feel like themselves and don't feel like Max Payne 3. Max Payne 3 used that Rockstar engine, and everything was like heavy and physics based, and I did not like it.
Oh, dude, like it would be way more affordable to just rebuild Max Payne inside of the existing engines they have than to actually recreate them.
I just wanted to feel the same because those games feel great.
Yeah, so that just got dropped.
And just throw a single pamphlet on the ground where Max learns about the Bureau of Control.
And then it's all, and there it is. Yeah.
Well, actually, Max Payne is, I think, the fucking, like, a written creation of Alan Wake.
But hold on, Remedy... Okay, hold on. Rockstar published... Remedy...
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Owns... I don't...
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Just think about Mark Wahlberg busting out of that room, screaming "BB!" shooting his gun everywhere to a completely empty room.
Baby!
Legitimately, like, worth watching that movie just for that.
The best scene of the entire fucking thing, easily.
Oh, yeah. Easy, no question.
Yeah, that was fucking great. So, um, I think like this next story is like it's my favorite thing in the world. It just wraps in all the things I love because you know
Okay,
me, I like character action.
you do.
I like combos.
It's true.
I like bugs.
That's true.
I'm a huge fan of QA. And
Yeah.
you know
Okay.
what?
I was wondering what story this was, and then it just clicked into my head.
And you know what?
What?
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. Beat up the kids.
Fuck them kids.
Yeah.
Best story of the fucking week. Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga has come out, and it's a Lego Star Wars game. Now, if you played any of the Star Wars games, when you shoot anything or attack anything, they usually just crumble into pieces of Lego, and that's what happens.
It's Lego.
But the children, the younglings, are not to be harmed, so they're invulnerable. They cannot be killed. And because they're invulnerable, that means you can continue to combo them as if you were in the void, as you can push the limits of the air chain lightsaber system to the maximum, allowing for literally like Sun High Legend videos of amazing combos into force powers that not only are fucking smoking sick style, but allow you to cross gaps and make it further into the level by sequence breaking jumps you couldn't make otherwise, because air comboing children allows you to go further. It's the fucking best thing in the world.
I saw somebody refer to it as child walking. It's great.
And it's functional. It has a purpose. If you were just interested in speed running or getting through a level faster, you still have to air combo the children. Aerial Rave the younglings for maximum style and maximum speed completion. Any percent. It's the best shit ever. So you can go now look up on Twitter, like as the character action fans are fucking coming out of the woodwork and doing full-on combo videos in Lego Star Wars, because it's real, it's legit, and the game lets you go from force powers directly into different lightsaber attacks, directly into dive kicks. In some cases, creating resets where the youngling gets 180'd, allowing you to set up backwards combos as well and side switches. It's the best. Yeah.
It's just one of those great little moments that you get from the unintentional realities of making children invincible. There's all sorts of stuff in the Fallout games and Skyrim games where, due to the invincible state the children have, you can do all sorts of stupid, goofy bullshit with them.
I mean, it's your shot of the lightsaber turning on, and the kid twitches, and then a D style meter just appears in the top right corner.
And then you hear an angry man asking you if you want to learn how to do a fucking infinite.
Oh man, yeah. Literally my favorite kind of story. That's price of it, a fucking entrance right there.
Also, apparently, though, that this one is like substantially better playing than all the other ones, judging by the fact that it has air combos that would allow for this in the first place.
Well, there you go, right? The combat system has to be robust enough to allow this exactly to occur to begin with.
If I remember correctly, this got found out because people were like enjoying the combat and wanted to find a training dummy in the game, only to find out that the best training dummy were the children.
And like, you can use Qui-Gon Jinn to air combo the shit out of young Anakin. And
Fuck
then
yeah, I should have done that in the first place.
And then when Annie grows up, he can continue to use the younglings for his air combos. So there's multiple instances as well. You don't just have one child. There are multiple children you can choose to style on in particular. So there's options, which is always nice. Um.
This is just great. This is just great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. It's the fucking best shit ever. I hope that Lego Star Wars catches on and patches the game to include more younglings in particular areas where they were like, why is that youngling standing on the edge of that building platform right there? What do
But
you
why?
What? Why would you be there? What's the point of that? I don't know. Why would they? Says Lego. Huh. Strange position for a kid to be standing in. All right, well. Oh, look, you see something in the distance over there? Is that a collectible? Way across on the other side of that building in Coruscant?
Out there. Weird.
Huh. Excellent. Most excellent. And got one more here. That's a bit of a quirky one, but it's history. So apparently, in the latest Pac-Man related releases, Mrs. Pac-Man is no longer present. Pac-Mom has replaced her.
Oh, that's interesting.
And there's a new character named Pac-Mom for Pac-Land. Of course, everyone goes, what, why? What's the deal? And it turns out, if you go back to the history of it, Mrs. Pac-Man, and I remember hearing about this early on, and I guess it rings a bell. Mrs. Pac-Man was not actually made by Namco.
No, it wasn't.
Midway basically got another group called Crazy Auto to modify an existing game that they were working on and turn that into Miss Pac-Man so that it could be released as essentially like a sequel, but there was no actual official Pac-Man 2 from the original people. So
sounds like somebody needs to go and finish watching the Tim Rogers review of Pac-Man. If they didn't know that. Okay.
Well, what has happened is, ever since 1982, when this secondary company was used to create Miss Pac-Man, they then go forward and everyone's like, well, whatever, it's all Pac family. But then when it comes to Miss Pac-Man getting licensed out in 2019 by a company called At Games, they acquired the royalty rights to Miss Pac-Man specifically from those original creators, but not from Bandai Namco. And basically Midway at the time licensing these people out means that they were the Miss Pac-Man creators that never theoretically lost those rights. So now
everything about old video game rights is the most fucking zany shit in the world because nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. And bootlegs were becoming real games. It's fucking weird.
Well, and again, like you could reach out to someone who was like basically making a bootleg and just bless it, to be like, no, make it real now. And that was that. And then no one ever clarified what was legally happening until now when they've started releasing these, because they wanted to get the royalty rights to re-release these collectible cabinets. But the collectible cabinets of Miss Pac-Man don't actually have to pay a cut to Bandai. So to court we go. And in the meantime...
And that's how you end up with Mrs. Mom Pac-Mom.
No, Pac-Mom. Pac-Mom.
Pac-Mom.
Yeah.
Pac-MILF. There you go.
Yeah. No words on Baby Pac. No words on what the situation is there. But, damn. Quite frankly, I think Pac-Mom is a better pun than Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But really, who cares about that shit? Just play fucking Pac-Man Championship Edition.
It's literally the best version.
It's like just play that one.
I think people are trying to find ways to go from Pac-MILF to Pac-Ussy, and then you just work your way back to the word pussy. Like it just
yeah.
Like, there's just nothing to fucking... You can't... There's no spice to that. It's already done. Anyway, all right, wonderful. It's great.
I hate it. I hate this trend.
Yeah, but
I
you
hate
didn't.
it.
Yeah, but you loved it like a month ago. So shut up.
No, 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 no. I really loved it like a month ago. and then I made a joke or two about it on my stream, and
Uh
then
huh.
like
Then
I
yeah,
can't get them to stop.
yeah.
Like they won't stop.
I forget
Like what
whether.
like one of the fucking subreddit mods, who's one of my mods, who's like a pretty cool guy, just decided to fucking take the piss on it, and now every time I have to talk to him, I have to look at the fucking word lumbussy.
Yeah, so that's you brought Lombussy into the lexicon, and then in
I did not bring that.
own it,
That was not me.
own it,
That
and
was
then
them.
in Strive during the beta, I got to floor 10, and I had to fight Lil Bussin' Man, which was Imagine Obama, and then I was like, okay, all right, it's set. This is a thing. This is a thing. It's now here. And he was guarding the 10th floor, you know? So if you can't defeat Lil Bussin' Man, you don't deserve Celestial. It's what it is. All right. Let's take some letters.
Hey, if you want to send a letter in, ask us some questions, fucking tell us a cool story, whatever, send it to castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com. That's castlesuperbeastmail@gmail.com.
I gotta say, I'm way more partial these days to cool stories than to questions.
Yeah, 100%. Easy.
So keep that in mind. All right, we got one coming in from Cyrus who says, "Hey, I recall on Wooly's thousand year door playthrough that it would be cool to find out more about the heroes who came before. I'd like to point out that in Lunar Silver Star Harmony for the PSP, not only do you get to see the heroes who came before, but you get to play as them in their final battle as the very first thing that happens in the game.
Oh, that's cool. I love that.
Like that, I severely like Wooly. I think this is a severely underutilized storytelling method in video games. Would like to see it in more games. What other cool and exciting things are not done enough? I know it was mentioned before that fighting the previous protagonist in the sequel is not done enough. Of course, that's there you go.
What I was gonna say.
Yeah. Reminder too
From
that
Devil May Cry to Dark Souls, it's the best fight in the game.
the intro to Indivisible was also like you fighting as the parents in the final battle before flashing forward in time, and that's a pretty fucking sick one. I think like in manga form, you're like, okay, when do we get the Kakashi years? When do we get to see what they were like on their as when the fourth was around and shit, and in video game form, getting to play as the older generation is always the fucking sickest. If not that, then just the other thing I'm gonna say is like the old warrior picking the sword back up, who's been around for most of the game not doing anything, or in some cases it's literally the beginning, where it's like at the beginning of Escaflowne is like fucking Vargas fighting with a giant Zweihander against mechs, and he's like, yeah, I do it on foot. I don't need my own Guy Malef. It's fine. That shit's rad.
So
And Chrono Cross as well has that with one of the older paladins who you learn from in the beginning of the game, who's like, actually, it's a retired badass that just is in this beachside village. Yeah.
So, there's only one. It's kind of similar to fighting the prior protagonist, but it's not quite exactly that. There's something that you and I remember we had a long conversation about how sick it was when we were playing Vanquish, because we were really bummed out by it. And it was in Vanquish, you have the super speed and you have time stop and all that. And that game has comparatively few cutscenes of your character doing anything. And we were talking about like, what does was it Sam in Vanquish?
Mm-hmm.
what does Sam fucking look like to the person outside of player control? Like what does the main character canonically actually fucking
See.
look like
Mm-hmm.
when they are
Mm-hmm.
doing this shit? And the only game I can think of that actually does it is fucking God, what's it called? Dragoon, before near
Drakengard.
Drakengard. In Drakengard 2, you see what fucking Kime looks like when he's fighting his fucking fights. And it's fucking terrifying.
Hmm.
Right? It's like he is just walking through dudes like they're water. Like I want to see more of like what do I actually look like when I'm playing the game from the outside observing point of view. You get a little bit of it in Metal Gear, actually, come to think of it.
A little bit. I've given this example numerous times, but Satoshi Kon's Stardust Crusaders, right? 1993 JoJo is like it does Dio using the world in not the stopped time, in the real time, and you get to see.
Yeah, because what does it look like to a regular person to fight Dio?
Things just happen. Reality stops making sense. They just happen. He can. Things just move and appear around him. Nothing makes any. It's terrifying. It's the scariest shit in the world. And I'm like, I know that was like a stylistic choice he made back then. That is not panel for panel, but god damn, does it recontextualize those powers in a more terrifying way. You know,
yeah, 100%.
It turns the cool show. It's a cool shonen power, but when you use it that way, it becomes horror. You know. Stop signs exploding, fucking buildings shooting up, and just everything around Dio as he walks towards Jotaro, like just not making sense. You know, it's so fucking sick.
And then you read the panel version, or you watch the modern version, and you're like, wow, Dio's a fucking like pompous theatrical fucking piece of shit because he's stopping time and sprinting over to smash a sign, and then sprinting back to get in the same pose.
What I would imagine is he's sprinting down to move Paul Naref down the stairs.
Oh
right?
yeah, no, that's the one.
That's the one. That's the one.
The height of absurdity.
In that walking down the scenes case, I think he's just walking and having and the world is having a temper tantrum behind him.
Okay. Yeah,
you know,
that probably makes sense.
I think the world is just freaking out and attacking everything, and Dio himself is not moving. But the staircase is the staircase is the staircase.
Oh man, it's
you can't escape that one.
I'm gonna put it down. Ooh, right up the stairs. Ooh,
pose.
Same pose.
Yeah.
It's great.
All right, we got one coming in. From Jordan from Paris, Canada, says, hey, dear Lorgar, Wooly, Rian, and Angron Pat, Jordan from Paris, Canada.
Got
here.
nothing on that. Nothing. I have no through line on that shit at all. I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Not sure. Also, why don't you say Paris, Ontario, as opposed to Paris, Canada? Anyway.
Because they're embarrassed they live in Ontario.
Fair enough. A couple of years ago, I had a friend who was constantly trying to get a D&D-like game rolling based on FF14. It's a 40K reference? Well, there you go. We lost the 40K reference.
Darn.
My friend was trying to get a D&D game like game rolling based on FF14 setting. He was a massive control freak who wanted all character info months in advance, and at one point demanded a 14-page character background questionnaire be filled out. The attitude hit a boiling point when I told him I was going through finals at school and I'd only be able to make a character after that. After they were finished, a month before the game was set to begin. Every day after that, he would message me asking if I had done this. Every day he would repeat it. I needed to study, and he wanted to know if there'd be enough time afterwards. It continued until the day that I had to drive my mother to the emergency room She's completely fine now, don't worry. But found her on the floor. And I had told him I'm hardly in a state to work on RPG stuff while waiting at the hospital. And he said that if I didn't, he was afraid he was going to have to kick me out of the group. What are some examples you know of people that just can't stop taking it too seriously?
So before we go into that, I want to talk about this person. First of all, this is like a fucking personality type.
That's a sociopath you're dealing with.
This is well, not that part of it. Not the part where they lose their human decency.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
Not that
Sure.
part. I'm talking
Sure.
about the control freak. And which is amoral, has no standing, right? And like you can be I'm a bit of a control freak, but if somebody told me their fucking mom was sick, I'm like, "Okay, fuck me, whatever. You do whatever the hell you need to do." Because like I have a human being's level of morality, at least some of it. But that is the type of person who really, really desperately wants to play this D&D campaign, and the fact that other human beings must be part of it is an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Ideally, they would want to play all 6 slots themselves.
Just sit there with your AI, bro. Like at that point.
One of my dearest friends, I genuinely mean this, he is one of my best friends, I love you, buddy, and I'm not busting your balls to bust your balls, but it's a pretty good example, is a much weaker version of this, but for board games. And board games is where you see this times a million. So dude would find a new cool board game, like something like House of Haunted Hill, something involved, something like, cooperative, right? And he would learn how to play it, and he would set the whole thing up in a table simulator, right? And we would play it, and he would give genuinely well-intentioned advice to us as we were learning the game. And his genuine well-intentioned advice would usually be the correct move to take. And as you played a 5 to 6 hour long game with this guy, you would eventually discover that he was playing the game by himself through you. Because the issue, and that's an issue with those types of games, and it's an issue with D&D, which is if
by telling you what to do.
Yeah, by suggesting correctly what the best option for every situation was. Like complete, and like, oh, are you having trouble with the math on this? Hold on, I'll do the math for your character for you, and then do you want to move here? Okay, I'll move the mouse and I'll pick up your character, right? That kind of thing. And the issue with that is an optimization issue, where if you want to play this game and you want to win, all co-op board games are way easier to win if one person is behind the wheel of every character. They become a million times easier to win. But that's not actually the most fun. And so we're like, dude, come on, let us. And like he stopped doing that, and all things were fine. But it's just like, that is a personality type. It's like, wouldn't it be easier if I helped you and I did this? Well, now this person in this story,
well, that's the thing is
just using you guys as fuel for their entertainment.
I mean, at a certain point, the person in this story, I feel like the only ending of this path is them sitting at the table DMing 6 upright corpses that have been preserved in chairs as he moves the pieces on the board around in the extensive map he's made, and refers to the 14-page character sheets. Like, I that's the only place this goes.
Man, I just saw, somebody in the chat just said something really funny. This person in the story has a bright future as a rock star story creative. And that is a genuinely genius reading of this, because that's how it feels when you play a modern Rockstar game, where you as human pilot is an inconvenience to the wonderful Hollywood narrative they want to fucking spin.
That's a
great breakdown of that, Judge Anon.
When it comes to taking the game too seriously, I mean, what you just brought up with that, with you are the flesh that is in the way, is that's pretty solid. I was gonna go a completely different direction and just say, like, the only things I can think of when it comes to taking the game too seriously is extreme sports fans, ultras,
Oh well, yeah.
chavs,
Well, that
hockey
that
fans,
leads
sports
to
gangs.
murder.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if if you places where you've got like again like the sport it's just sports gangs that just attack the opposite teams
yeah.
after the game.
Literally fight them.
In some cases like players being executed,
Yeah.
like um all of that is just where my brain goes when it's like, yeah, you can't possibly fucking you you turn that sport game into literally religious culture lifestyle, and it never comes unentwined.
The thing that pops into my mind associated with this is obviously there's the very famous WoW clip of 50 DKP minus.
Mm-hmm.
But like my gang of friends, they play a lot of MMOs. And as such, I have a lot of MMO like secondhand stories on this, and there are two that jump to mind. One is, and if anybody who has any experience with classic WoW, the modern classic WoW that just came out, they would hop from guild to guild, desperate to find a group of people that did not create some labyrinthine system for assholes that at the end of the day just ended with the guild leader giving every one of their friends all the good drops from every single fight the group ever did.
Mm-hmm.
Just over and over and over. Just like, the fucking guild leader says that because I missed yesterday that the points rolled over and the fucking thing, and that's why. Well, they need the best in slot because they're going to be running it on Tuesday, and like over and over.
I think
the other one is from actual classic WoW, in which a good friend of mine describes that the raid leader of the group that she and her boyfriend were in would not refer to people by their names, only by their job and number in the raid.
Oh my god. Tank 4. Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
God damn.
100%.
Damn.
Like she ended up quitting that group because she was getting real sick of some rude dickhead calling her, I think it was like priest or healer or whatever. Jeez. Like, you are all chess pieces. You are all annoyances that you're actually humans.
Oh, wow. No, I was just going to say that, like, as someone who has lost more hours than I can blah. I've lost hours and hours, if not days, of my life to Championship Manager. I realized that despite the burning hatred in my soul for that game and that entire series, it serves a purpose. For every group of sane FIFA fans that just want to play soccer, you need to have Championship Manager exist to filter out that guy, that one, who would otherwise just be a dictator to the group, to just be like, okay, when you can't put your crazy away, go play Champ Man. Just go drill all the way in to the fantasy football thing and contain it there. It's solo by yourself and you can do all of that, and everyone else can have just the fun game, and you can filter those people out.
You know what my favorite part about what you're saying right now is you described how much time you spent with Sega Championship Manager, and I had this flash of idea in my head. I'm like, that's weird. I didn't think you were into Champion. Oh no, wait. You're not into Champ Man.
Not
Champ Man was into you.
Yeah, my soul.
I remember that arc. The
my
arc
soul
of you being on Champ Man.
It is fucking
man.
Just brandished with that goddamn fucking thing. And you know what? We did a great job because they came back and they stuck around. They were around for a while. Yeah.
Felt so bad for you, dude.
No, anyone that was I mean, you want to see a QA team just lose the will to live. You just walk into the office and tell them they're on Champ Man that day and just like anime, the reflection in your eyes goes flat, you know. But yeah, that's what it does. That's the purpose it serves, you know. It creates a field between the people that just want to play some fucking football, some soccer, and the ones who are inconvenienced by their flesh friends who are in the way when they want to just do the numbers. There's the fact that there's even a way to watch the little dots kick a fake dot ball around in real time, which you can of course fast forward and turn off, but no, because I want to watch the real thing, and they're just the little dots kicking the fake dot ball. Yeah. There you go. By the way, Jordan, lose that friend. Fucking please.
Yeah, no. Tell them to go fuck off in a ditch. You know, like that's not limited. That is not limited to games. That's just pure sociopathy. Because I remember a very similar story that led to a breakup of a girl I knew. Well, I guess I continue to know her, but a friend of mine who broke up with her boyfriend of like 6 years, and they were like probably gonna get married, like it was a sure thing, one of those relationships. And she's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I can't go to this event with you. I gotta cancel our date because I gotta help my family with something." And the words leave his lips of, "Oh, your family this, your family that. It's always your family. You're always canceling on me because of your family. Like, when's it going to be time for us?" To which she responds with, "My mom just died. I have to take care of my sister and my dad." And that was the end of that.
As you do.
That was the end of that right there.
Wow.
Like one day that guy was hanging out with me and my friends, and the next day he might as well have died.
Wow. GG, no re.
Like, no hint that that was the kind of person that he was. No
damn, dude.
Red flag. Otherwise, seemed like a pretty normal guy.
Well, look, man. You know, sometimes some boyfriends need their diapers changed. You know, and who's gonna do it? Them? That's crazy. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, there's
to clarify, somebody asks what he didn't know. No, he knew. Of course he knew that's why she was spending a lot more time with her family. It's just it was annoying to him.
Yeah, no, there's red flags, and then there's nuclear suns that just that bathe you in crimson. That you need to look out for. All right. That's whatever. Let's close on that.
You don't. Also, I'm not a big D&D nerd. I don't think you need 14 fucking pages of backstory. You probably get by with 4 sentences.
Like, I bet you I bet you this was like, I'm running my own campaign, FF14 based, and we're using first edition. You know, like, I bet you there's some...
No, actually, FF14 has a built-up existing
tabletop thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's official, but it's been an active thing for a couple years now.
Okay, well, fine. Yeah, no. Every once in a while, your gaming group will introduce you to someone who's possibly got literally corpses in their house. You need to you need to run. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. There you go.
All right. Good podcast. Excellent podcast. I'm going to play video games this week, so I'll have more to talk about next week.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
look forward to that.
Yeah, and I'm serious, people. Class Action Park. Like, just Take an hour
I'm
and a half
going
of
to
it.
watch it.
Fucking take it in.
So next, I'm going to give you
Uncle
a preview
Gene.
of next week's podcast where I go, oh man, that part
Uncle
with the
Gene.
ding.
Uncle Gene. Do it. All right.
Y'all have a good week. Stay safe out there, everybody.